Good evening, and welcome to the first live broadcast of Hard Rock and Sports, my 2-hour weekly get-together to talk topical sports and hard rock and metal music. I want to thank everybody who is listening, and if you are listening, thanks, and I hope I get to spend a couple hours entertaining you each and every week. If I don't entertain you, maybe I'll annoy you enough to call me, and we can have a conversation about any of the sports or rock and roll music topics of the day. My name is Tom Florio, and I want to thank you all again for spending a few minutes with me today. Today being my first show, I wanted to kind of explain how I came up with the idea of combining these two passions of mine, sports and heavy metal and rock and roll music. Everybody who knows me knows I'm a big sports fan, played, listen, watch any sporting event out there. I can't get enough of it sometimes. And I've also have a very big passion when it comes to music. So why are you listening? Why do you have to listen? Well, you don't have to listen. While you're listening, you probably know me and you're probably doing me a favor and you listen to this first broadcast to see what it's all about. So what it's all about is I love to talk sports. I get together with my family, my dad, my uncles, my cousins, and inevitably we get to some topic of the conversation. It could be a game that just was played, or somebody made a comment in the media, or inevitably it'll turn to a list. Who's the greatest third baseman? Who's the best shortstop you ever saw? Best teams. And we have so much fun with it. At least I do. And I thought, why not bring that to the air? Why not have some fun with that every week? Why not get everybody together and talk sports? I do. I love talking sports. But why do I want to combine that with music? And I'll tell you why. A couple of months ago, I'm reading a book. Yes, folks, I do read. And the most fascinating part of the book was to find out that the character or the person I was reading about, who was a singer in a band, Ronnie James Dio, was a big Giant fan. And I was more into the fact that he was a Giant fan and his interpretation and his memories of Giant games than I was about him being in Black Sabbath or touring with Iron Maiden. And I realized that there are a lot of people out there who are musicians, who are big sports fans, and a lot of athletes, pro athletes, who are big music fans. Excuse me. So I found it fascinating. And I said, it's a terrific segue from music to sports. You go to games and people are out there. You're being psyched up by the PA announcers with Crazy Train from Ozzy Osbourne and Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses, and Enter Sandman when Mariano Rivera entered games by Metallica. And I just thought it was a terrific combination of stuff that I enjoy and love and that is involved in everyday sports. So I just figured, hey, listen, let's put this out there and we can open this up to not only me sitting on the air and telling you about what I feel and my opinions and my observations, let's call it, but yours as well. And most people who are sports fans, you'd want to call into the big shows, FAN and ESPN, and you can never get on the air. Here, I guarantee you can get on the air. There's not that many people going to call in to hear my show, but it'll give you a chance. And maybe we build up a little bit of an audience, and we'll have that kind of talk that I have with my family. Maybe we have, somebody will come up with a topic and next thing you know, everybody's got an opinion. So that's why I want to do this. That's why I'm trying to do this. And that's why I've combined these two things. I am fascinated when I read that there's an athlete and I hear him.
Well, welcome to, again, let me start all over again. And that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another edition of the Hard Rock and Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rock and Sports Studios in beautiful St. Monroe, New Jersey. We are your 2-hour weekly get-together. We bring you all the biggest news from the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, of course, the wide world of sports. And, guys, we are celebrating 10 years tonight. And what you were just listening to, if you were listening to it, was my very, very, very first broadcast, July of 2014. That's right. That was me. Very first time explaining why I was doing this. And why I do this is because my love of sports and music. I will always say this. I was never the greatest athlete. I was never the greatest baseball or football player. I was never the greatest musician, but I have a passion for both. It's just something I grew up with in my household. With my friends, you'll see some of them come on tonight. People like Frank Jeffrey and Paul Gill, obviously with my dad and with my co-host Jeff Towinski. My passion has been, beside my family and friends and how dear I hold them, music and sports has always been huge for me. And starting this 10 years ago was my dream. My dream job was to get on the air and talk sports and music, either one or both. And I've had that opportunity for the last 10 years to come on here every Thursday night, or practically every Thursday night. We've done over 400 shows and kind of just have a forum to bullshit and talk. I've made some friends along the way. I've gotten the opportunity to interview people from all over. We've had Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath, KK Downing from Judas Priest. We've had Jeff Tate from Queensryche, Mark Farner from Grand Funk Railroad, Tommy John, Nick Fatiu. We've talked to Brian Doyle from the Yankees. B. Brian Blair, the wrestler. We've had a smorgasbord, over 200 guests. Lita Ford. There's so many. We've become friends with so many people. Mark Scott from Trickster. We've developed relationships with people that I've never even met. John Marhefka from RFO Records and Talk in the Fast Lane. Mike Weissman from Hemp Wizard. I've reconnected with people like Frank Catalano and so many people along the way. You're underestimating yourself, bro. Thank you, Frank. Thank you very much. I've got an opportunity to do something here where it's kind of a community thing. We've met. When we were on Blog Talk, I don't know about so much on what we're doing now. When we were on Blog Talk Radio, we were showing up. They would give you a map on where people were listening. We were in Russia, Turkey, all China, all over Europe. It was small pieces, but there were people listening around the world. I've had an opportunity to talk to people on the air from Australia and from the UK. I talked to JJ French from Twisted Sister. I talked to Bumblefoot. I've had the opportunity to talk sports and music with some of my icons from my childhood. And again, I've been able to have a place where people like my dad comes every week. Jeff has been my co-host. And that's why I do this. And that's what my love of this is. And I want to do a quick thank you. We'll do a quick retrospective. We got a lot of football tonight. It's the NFL training camp show. It's the 11th time. The very first show was the NFL training camp. And again, that was a very rough start to the thing, and I had to feel my way through it. And as of today, thank you, Frank Jeffrey. And Frank, I'll always give Frankie credit. I went from being a very average football player to a pretty decent one, and I learned the game from Frank Jeffrey. I'll say that a million times. Frankie's knowledge and his passion, and at 19, 20 years old, to put together the thing he did with the South Beach Panthers, and it basically turned the island into an entire league, is mesmerizing. But Frankie was scripting plays with a bunch of Sandlot players, back in 1986. I mean, it just didn't happen, folks. People were still playing single wing and, Delaware wing tee, and Frankie was the guy who brought everybody together, created a thing that's still alive today. I mean, we are still friends. I got to see a few guys this past weekend, and I'll always give Frankie that credit. He gave me that boost to learn the game even better. But when it comes to my music and passion, I get that from my dad. I get that from my family, and it's something that I always have. I've always been a fan of sports and music. And to do this for 10 years, and again, make friends with people across the country and across the world, people I've never met that I would actually call friends based on this, I can't say enough. So my thank you's got to start now. First and foremost, I want to thank my wife, who puts up with me doing this every week. Every Thursday night, I disappear into a room for 2 to 3 hours, and she's very supportive as I sit there during the week and I write the script for the show and I put this together. And she has been terrific, and I can't say thank you enough. Thank you, Anthony Carey, a big part of the Hard Rocket Sports events with the Hard Rocket Sports Band, Anthony and Sharon and Joe Drums, Pinto, Jimmy Galicchio, Joe. Just so many people who we did 6, 7, 8 events as the Hard Rocket Sports Band, and I can't thank you enough, Anthony. But yeah, my wife, I can't say thank you enough for her for allowing me to do this every week and supporting me along the way at each one of our events. Of course, I want to thank Joe Ganzis, who, without his help, I would never be here today because I would have failed. But Joey jumping on that first year and helping as a producer and part-time co-host and helping me put together the first events, push this along, which it never would have been to without Joey. So Joe Ganzis, I say thank you so much. Thanks to Nick Marino, who took over the producing duties and got us so many great guests along the way. Thank you to Jay Giasio, John Marhefka, Mike Weissman, Chris LaFrancesca, so many, Sam Bone, the boys at Black Sasquatch who have been with us the whole way through. They listen every week. They send me music. They've been guests on the show. I can't thank them enough. Adam Hines, so many people just who helped behind the scenes, who just stuck with the show. All the guests. I mean, we've had 200 guests ranging from George Foreman, Tommy John, first Nick Fatiou, again, Geezer Butler, Jeff Tate, Ross the Boss multiple times. So many people, Bobby Gustafson, JJ French, just so many people. And I've got to talk to so many people that, growing up, I would run to buy their albums or try to go to their concerts. It's just amazing. So, those are people that I need to say thank you to. Jeff just popped up. I'm going to get him on right now. But I want to say thank you to Jeff. I mean, first of all, Jeff's been with the show since episode number 4. He started as a caller. Then he got involved as he was doing CD reviews, and it built up to, he would call in on his way to band practice and be part of the show for an hour. And then at some point just said, hey, I want to be involved. And he was, and he has been. And as far as I'm concerned, this is Jeff's show. It's 50-50. We're partners. We do this together. It's not the same when he's not here. And it's we don't always agree on things. So sometimes we'll play along. But it's 2 hours that I look forward to each week. And I can't say thank you to Jeff enough. My dad, my brother Richie, who's the guy who really, really was the impetus behind the show. Talking to Rich, complaining about it one night, he said, go do it. Go find a way to do your own show and have some fun. And if it lasts 2 episodes, it lasts 2. If it lasts 200, it's 200. And it's over 400 legitimate episodes. And I can't thank my brother enough for pushing me to do this. Again, my entire family, my cousins Todd and Chrissy, who were big supporters, my Dan, Nicole, Jamie, all of them, they've all been a part of the events and listened to the show and supported me. My sons, all of them, my stepdaughter, everybody who's been involved along the way and supported the events and the show. I can't say thank you enough. I hope I'm not missing anybody. There's been so much help along the way, but those people were instrumental in doing this. And, for me, it's a big way to say thank you. I want to get Jeff on. We're going to do a few minutes of this. We'll get my dad on. Frank Jeffrey is going to be with us. We're going to talk a lot of football tonight. You never know who else is going to pop up. But again, I played a little bit of the very first show. I'll try to play some more stuff along the way. Next Thursday night, I will play a ton of stuff. I'll play some of the Lita Ford interview where she says that Eddie Van Halen wore her panties. I'll play Geezer Butler's interview probably in its entirety. So many people that we've George Foreman called me. George Foreman called me from the dentist chair to book the show. I mean, there's nothing like in the world getting a phone call from George Foreman as he's getting a drill to the mouth. It's little Ron Bloomberg, the first DH of all time, and the former Yankee, called me. Hey, buddy, how you doing? I've gotten to talk to so many people along the way. Again, Pete D'Agostino, Louis Peak, guys who've been regular people involved in the show. I can't say thank you enough to everybody. So I wanted a few minutes to do that and say thank you to everybody along the way. And I don't know how long this will last. I really don't. Sometimes I think it's over. Sometimes I can't think about not doing this. But for now, while we're doing it, I'm having a blast. It's football season. officially today. It's our 11th NFL training camp show, and we're going to kick it off. We'll talk a lot of football tonight, but along the way, Sharon, I want to shout down. I forgot to Sharon. So the band has always been Anthony Carey, Joe Drums, Jimmy Galicchio, Jeff, myself, Sharon, and Jimmy Pintos was in there. So many people involved in all of that. I can't thank them enough. So do me a favor, everybody, and just understand how much I appreciate everybody who's been Giuseppe Dante, who's long gone from hanging out with this show, but so many of you and the new people to the show, like Frank Catalano, who's there every week, and Adam Hines, and so many people who reach out along the way each week. I thank you. If you spend 3 minutes with us, it means so much to me. So again, let me get Jeff on, start the show the way we always do. We'll do a few more minutes of the retrospective, and then we're going to get in around 7:30 to what we do each week, and that's the NFL training camp show. We got a lot to talk about. Football's here, folks, and the show really kicks off now. So stand by. Let's get Jeff on, and let's get this thing started. Hefe, what's up, pal?
What's going on, man?
Hefe, happy anniversary, my brother.
Same to you.
Thank you, my friend. I hope you heard me thanking you and all that, but I want to just truly say that I appreciate your efforts, not only with the show, but helping us put together all of the events. Jeff books all the bands, and I would say that without you, this show would have died on the vine a long time ago.
I don't know about that, man. You've done a lot to keep this going, and it gives me something to do Thursday nights. So it keeps me out of my wife's ass, so she's happy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it's a lot of fun, and here's hoping that it goes a little bit longer. I don't know what your plans are and everything, and maybe one day you wake up and you're just like, that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. Again, I think that'll be it. I don't know at this point. There's nothing. Like I don't have any thought of, well, this is it. This is going to be the last year. I have no idea. I just keep doing it because I love doing it. I love doing it with you. So it's it'll keep going until we wake up one day and go, okay, we've had enough. Who knows? Like I said, right now, there's no time frame on it. We just keep going, and we have some fun, and we celebrate 10 years together. And I look forward to hopefully maybe another 10 years.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. So, Jeff, let's start the show how we do every week. I got a couple of quick questions for you about our 10 years. But, Jeff, how was your week?
Well, it was one of them weeks, man. I was sick yesterday, so I had to stay home from work. I wasn't able to participate in some work activities. That's a shame, man. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. That's a shame.
Today I went to work and everything is great again because I'm off tomorrow. So
there you go. So am I. I took the day off tomorrow. I needed a break in the action, and I am exhausted. But next week, Jeff, I will do a much better retrospective. I want to get some stuff on from the Half Man. I want to play some of your better clips.
The Half Man.
But let me ask you something, Jeff, real quick. Give me a top couple of moments from the show. Like, what would you say the first couple things that pop into your brain? Maybe it's a guest, maybe it's a bit you did, or a specific show we did. To me, the first thing I'll always think of is Dominic in the football helmet on the show. Remember that one?
Of course, yeah, of course.
So that's to me was. But yes, hello, Sharon.
Happy anniversary!
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was a magical moment when the little fella was doing that. Of course, but I there was a couple times with him that led to some great moments.
Yes.
The time that he fell asleep.
That's a classic. That is a classic.
Okay.
Yes.
The time that he would always come up with out of nowhere his bets.
Yes.
And it was like, Dom, who the fuck gave you permission to do this? Get out of here. And there was just so much, like his Raiders, like he would find ways that his Raiders would go 17-0.
Yes.
And it's like, where are you getting this from? Like, but as far as, Geezer Butler, the guests, a lot of the guests that we spoke to, of course.
Yeah.
All good stuff.
Yep.
And, listen, it's just some of the best shows were shows that we weren't even prepared for, that you'll be like, I got nothing tonight. And we're like,
Yes,
just let it happen, and it did, and we had a lot of fun. And
absolutely.
a lot of the shows we would talk about wrestling sometimes, and just stuff that took off out of nowhere.
Yeah, I would agree. Listen, I would totally agree that, that some of the best shows we ever did were just shows we look at each other like, what are we going to talk about tonight? And we figured it out. And next thing you know, we had a great show. So, and it's great that, the new platform allows for us to have more people paying attention and chiming in with us. We have some of our regular characters like Frankie Catalano and, guys who normally pop up each week, Louis Pica and, so many other guys, Michael Bafulco and some other people who just, Adam Hines. He's been a little out of the touch lately, Adam, but he still pops in here and there. So, yeah, and I want to get my dad on quick. I want to get to football, Jeff. It's NFL time. The training camps are open. It's all kid matches. It's the 11th time we've done this show.
Jesus, wow.
Yeah, 11th time we've done the NFL training camp show.
We've done this show, and the teams that we root for probably have never made it to the fucking playoffs.
I would just say in the time we've done this show, I think the Giants have made the playoffs twice, and the Jets have not made it at all. So it's been a little rough. But
don't make it.
We'll see how it plays out. But we got a lot to get to football wise. But I do want to get my dad on the air and see what he's got to say. And then right after 7:30, we'll get Frankie on. I'm expecting maybe a couple other people to pop up. But we'll talk football the rest of the way. Frankie will hang with us as long as he wants. And we're certainly looking forward to it. But thanks for tuning in, guys, to the Hard Rocket Sports Show 10th anniversary. We are 10 years on the air, and the show has had many different versions. But we're here, and we're looking for another great NFL season. And we'll get to that in a minute as soon as we get my dad on and see what he's got to say. What's up, Pop?
Hi, guys. Happy anniversary.
Thank you, Pops.
You guys doing something we wish we had when we were kids.
Sure.
It would have been nice. But, no, there's really not much. All I can say is the Yankees stink.
Yeah.
And the Mets are the better team. My one gripe, I got to complain, and I watch TV, and it drives me crazy.
Uh-huh.
And they make a big deal about it. It's framing.
Yeah.
Somebody got to explain to me how framing is something that's good.
Yeah.
I cannot understand it. If you're framing a ball, that means the initial catch was out of the strike zone. If I was an umpire, I would tell the catcher, the minute you move that glove, you got a ball. I'm sorry. Yeah. How do you?
I agree. Listen, to me, it is no. I don't know why that became such a big deal at this point. I really don't. But you know what? For some reason, being able to hold your glove in one spot has become a big deal to everybody. I don't know why.
I watch it, and guys get hired and fired because this guy's a better framer.
Yeah.
You say to yourself, what the hell is a framer? I never heard that before.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Pop. I don't know what that is. I really don't. But listen, people are obviously making a career out of being a framer, as they call it. So I don't know why that's special, but it is, and it's become something that people have to, people throwing about and making a big deal out of.
I don't know. Jeff, I watched today. He amazes me. Aaron Rodgers. He comes out with things. You can't believe a grown man talks like that.
I think Aaron Rodgers is in for I want to say a tough season because I think every single thing he says and does will be over scrutinized. Too much.
Too many people are picking them to be too successful this year. I feel. I think it's they're putting too much on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're giving them too much credit. They didn't even start the season yet, and everybody's saying, "Oh, that." Well, one, I think it's USA Today has them beating Green Bay in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it all. Honestly, I've seen it all. Again, I won't tell you that they don't have a chance. I will tell you that. Oh yeah, we did interview Rudy Salzer a couple times. I forgot about that. I would tell you that I would not be shocked to see the Jets in the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think it's that far off based on their talent level and the league. But
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's
me, it's the front line. If his front line is as good as they say it is, he's got a shot. But if they start able, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jeff.
You got to think compared to last year and previous years, this line might not be good by NFL standards, but the way that the Jets have been playing as of late, it may be the greatest line they've had in the last 20 years.
Could be. Never know. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I know you got your football coming up. I want to really wish you guys, Tommy, we love you.
Yep.
And I'm very happy for both of you. You have a good thing going and keep it up. And I'll talk to you over the weekend, Tom.
Thanks, Pops. I will see you over the weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Florio.
Thank you, Pops. That's my daddy. Checks in every week, and we love having him a part of the show. And I see that Frankie's here, and I also see Paul Gill popped up. So let's get Frankie on first and start the football conversation, and we'll bring Paul in. I know he wants to kind of wish us a happy anniversary, and he probably talk a little Giant football with you. But in the meantime, let me bring on our good buddy. My buddy of close to 40 years now. I know Frankie since about 1985, 86. So we're creeping up on 40 years together. And I will say it again, the architect of the South Beach Panthers, a guy who turned Staten Island into the biggest sandlot football league that has ever been had. Team, every neighborhood had a team. And Frankie somehow organized with no internet, no cell phones. Frankie organized a league where people played every week, and there were schedules and the whole bit. No championships, no official championships. Although I would say our second year we definitely won the championship. But needless to say, and a guy I said it during the show, I'll say it every time. The guy who taught me to play the game of football the way I learned to play it, and taught me how to watch football a certain way, and I'll always give him that credit. That's my man, Mr. Frank Jeffrey. Let's get him on with us right now. Frankie boy.
Hey, happy anniversary, guys. Happy anniversary.
Thank
you, Frank.
Incredible show. You guys deserve it. And Tommy, I learned just as much from you as you say I taught you.
Wow,
you think about it. It was like you said, the 80s. We were scripting plays, and we were also one of the first teams to decide to defer the ball to the second half.
That's 100%
which
correct.
Which is a thing now.
Yes, very,
so
very
way
much
before
true.
Our time.
Yes, Frankie, I would say it all the time. We were way ahead of our time, and a good bunch of guys. And I have to say, Frankie, not to I hope it's not the wrong place, but I want to say that your memorial for your wife Sunday was a great turnout. You did a great job. I thought it was everybody came, and it was a great celebration of your wife, who was a wonderful, wonderful human being who left us too quickly. So I'm happy that everybody for the turnout, and it just shows how much both of you guys are loved by us.
Thank you. It was beautiful. The show of love, like you said, we had almost 200 people there between the funeral home, and then we went to the celebration of life. It was funny. We didn't expect that many, so we had to throw extra tables out. That's how I knew how many people showed up.
Yeah. Oh, it was nice.
It was amazing. Thank you, everybody that showed up. It was great.
So
the one regret, Tom, she wanted to come on your show and tell you all her BC Rich stories that I'm telling you, I know most of them, but I can't share them with you because you know what? They were her stories, but some of her stories, like I think she told you the Axl Rose story.
Yep.
So, but there was so many stories like that she wanted to tell you. My wife was a big, I don't know what she was, the head of marketing for BC Rich Guitars. She knew all the big players for BC Rich Guitars, and she used to go out and do all the trade shows for BC Rich Guitars to sell the guitars. She came up with the slogan, "Wouldn't you like to play a Virgin?" when they came out with the Virgin guitar.
Yes. Wow.
So,
wow. That. I'm sure she had a ton of stories, and I would have loved to have sat down and heard every one of them.
Yeah.
So, but you did a great job, and it was a
Thank
great
you.
celebration of for her and of her, and you know how much we love you, and so,
Like I said, I appreciate all you guys coming out, taking your time,
uh,
showing the love. It was amazing. That's what made it incredible.
Yep, I would agree. I would understand that, but okay, guys. So now we're into football. I don't see Paul Gill's face, so I know he's there. So hopefully he'll get some video up in a second. But in the meantime, guys, it's football season. All right, this is what we live for, Jeff, Frankie. So I'm going to ask both of you guys real quick. Frank, you're the guest so far to the show. You're a guest host for them. I'm going to let you go first. Football season right now. Give me your very first initial take on what you're feeling right now. What's the first thing you're thinking about football wise is what?
Well, I'm a Dolphin fan, so I think about my Dolphins and I think about the AFC. That's going to be first on my mind. Jeff, I think the Jets are going to have an incredible year. They shored up that offensive line. I know those guys sometimes are a little suspect with injuries and what have you. But if they stay healthy, and be honest with you can say that with any team. Any team has a key injury, they're gonna flop. But the Jets, you gotta give them credit. They got probably one of, I'd say, the top 3 defenses. I know people may say top 5. I think it's one of the top 3 defenses in the league. You got Rodgers. You shored up that line. You still got some weapons. Gonna be the team to beat in the AFC East, 100%. 100%.
It's the Jets we're talking about. If there's a way to fuck it up.
They may do Jets things.
And, listen, I can only hope that they get some satisfaction, but it looks like there's definitely been a power shift in the AFC East, and I think it's going to be between the Dolphins and the Jets this year. If Tua stays healthy, me and Tommy talked about it on more than one occasion. After Tua got banged up that first year he was starting, you got to think, is the guy injury prone? Is he going to have concussions his whole career? He was healthy last year. Let's see what happens. It's going to be a dogfight between those two teams.
The problem I'm worried with,
I got to go on record as saying right now, as long as the fucking Broncos do not win anything this year, I'm all right with it. Oh, that Frank got allowed.
Frank,
I think the Broncos are going to have a rough year this year. I really do.
Well, all right. So let's get into the big news at camp. I want to get to the Jets, the Giants, and of course the Dolphins a little later. But right now, I want to get into some of the bigger news, and right now the biggest thing is contracts and holdouts. So Jeff, right now, CeeDee Lamb's not happy. Tua is expecting a contract. For your own Jets, Hassan Reddick has not shown up to camp yet. Brandon Ayuk is in camp but not practicing. Jeff, is these distractions that big a deal anymore? It seems like people gloss over them, and it's almost expected every year, Jeff. Do you think, CeeDee Lamb holding out, or, Dak Prescott wanting a new deal but not getting one? Are these big deals right now?
Right now, no. It's July. Right now, no. If this continues and this attitude continues into August, the middle of August and September, then you're liable to see some problems. It's liable to cause people to come on a slow start of the season. I don't know about how you guys feel about it, Tommy. We've spoken about it before, but you signed a contract and you were very happy with the contract you signed 3-4 years ago. Live out what you signed. Unless you're, I hate the phrase, I outplayed my contract. You decided that you wanted $18 million a year. You signed for it. That was the going rate at that time. Play another year, get a better deal. Finish your obligation. I can't go to my job and say, you know what, I did better this year than last year. I deserve more than 3%, 4%. It's a contract. I don't understand how all of these sports guys get away with this. If I was an owner, I would just be like, sit down. And now I'm going to franchise tag you too on top of it. I'll fuck your career up.
Well, Jeff, I agree with you, Frankie. I'm going to give you the other side of the argument. If you're the players, do you say, well, the NFL doesn't give us guaranteed contracts, so they could cut us after a year, 2 years?
Yep.
Do I have the right to go after and get as much money as I can while I can? Or are you more in the Jeff camp where you signed the deal, you got to live up with it, and you're stuck with it?
Tom, I'm sorry, Frank, before you say anything real quick, just add this to it, okay? A lot of these guys are getting $20 million plus a year. Really, You get 1 year big money. That's it. You're set for life. Where are you going to spend all of this money? You know what I mean? Like, do you really need $40 million a year? It's impossible. Nobody thinks of the overall team and what may happen to the team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I agree, but Frankie, do you have the other side of that argument?
I do have the other side of the argument. I agree that the salaries are crazy. They're insane high. They're definitely out of control. But you got to look at this, Jeff. These guys only have a very small window to make their money. Most players are done by the time they're 30. Think about that. You know, very few play into their 35s, 40s. So they got a very little window of time to make that money. Now, I do agree salaries are crazy, but you got to make it when you can. And if you do 2 good years and you don't want to get stuck on a rookie contract, you got to fight for your money, because the next year, like Tommy said, you could either A, get hurt, or B, they could say, you're not playing up to your standard, we're just going to cut you and lose the rest of your money. And that's the reality of it. So they got to make it while they can.
Well, you know what? I hear you, and I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. But you want to know something? Let's take apart a few things you just said. You said that players sometimes are playing at 35, 40 years old. Those guys are definitely not making top-tier money at 35 to 40 years old.
Exactly.
Okay? But if they started at 20, 21 years old, they definitely had their time to make some money. How much is enough for a lifetime? Do you really need to make $350 million in your lifetime to live? I didn't make $350 million. I highly doubt that you two guys made $350 million. And yet here we are. We're all living.
Yeah, no, I get no. Like I said, I give you that the salaries are out of control. It's ridiculous how much they're being paid. But if you look at it from their perspective of the lifestyle they're living and they want to live, and like I said, when you get on your rookie contract, you're not making that much money. You're making decent money. Then you've got that 4 years, maybe 5-year window of time where you can make your big bucks. Before, like I said, then you're going to start, when you start getting into your 30s, they're going to be like, nah, we don't need you, or they're going to cut you, or they're going to do like Saquon Barkley. You saw Hard Knocks. They're going to say, you know what? We don't know if he's going to last. We don't know if we want him. We don't know if we're this. We don't know that. And that's the game that's going to get played. And your money's going to get hurt.
And while all of that makes sense, okay, now put yourself in the position, because we're older now. All right, let's face it, we're not going to be in this position. Let's say that you're a father and you have 2 boys that play football and they want to go to a football game. And because of the players' contracts and the salaries and everything else involved with the game, not just the players, the cost of a soda, the cost of a hot dog, a pretzel, souvenir. What is a football, taking your sons to a football game going to be $1,000 Sunday?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get that. I agree with you.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. And you're right. I know you already agreed, but the salaries are just astronomical. It's unbelievable. But you can't blame the players.
No.
You have to blame the players. You have to blame the owners, because the first one said, I'm not paying them. But it'll be like, well, I'll pay you. I'll pay you.
Right.
Come over here. I'll pay you. That was when the things got out of hand. If the owners just said, no, that this is the contract, either you play for it or you don't. You don't play? All right, we get somebody else.
And it's not just the pros. I'll give you a perfect example. Now, you know where I live in New Jersey. I could almost walk to Rutgers University. It used to cost me $10 to take my kids to a Rutgers game. Now it costs me $500.
That's insane. That's fucking insane.
Because they got to pay the college kids now.
Uh-oh. Tommy no, he'll come back. He'll pop back on. That's just insane, man.
It's crazy.
Absolutely insanity. Because even if we're getting to the point now, we may have grandchildren. If you don't have grandchildren already, I don't. Let's say you want to take them to a game.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You can't do it. The prices are just too much, man.
It's going to cost you your whole monthly disability check, Social Security check to take them.
Yeah. Even if we even collect it, if we get to live that long to collect it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're not kidding.
It is a shame. I feel
like
bad.
I said, while I agree with you about their salaries are out of control, I do think they need to make the money while they can. But like you said, the starting like Tua, he's doing that sit out or lock out, whatever the hell they're calling it now, where he comes to practice but he doesn't practice. The sit in or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah, they go to the meetings, but they don't participate.
Yeah, but they don't practice. They don't participate in practice because he's holding out. Hold in. That's what they're calling it. Hold in.
Yeah.
He wants $50 million a year. I don't think he's worth that. I don't really think he's worth $50 million a year. I'm sorry.
Listen, once Brock Osweiler made that massive contract, all bets
And
are
Kirk
off.
Cousin and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
because now once you have a player, a quarterback that shows that he could play in this league and be somewhat successful, you're going to get paid.
Absolutely.
And there is to it.
Yeah.
And it's a shame.
And now they're even thinking about taking the quarterback salary out of there so that they can make salaries even higher. Imagine that.
I
Like,
saw that. A separate salary
Where's
cap.
the thinking in that?
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, your quarterback room will be a separate salary cap.
Yeah, I saw that. That's absolutely fucking
It's
insane.
insane.
Let me ask you this. Take a player like Pat Mahomes, even Tua to an extent. What do you think is a fair salary for a quarterback in today's league?
$25 million a year.
Yeah. You I would say that's a little. I think that's a little on the low side, even though I complained about it. I would say 30, 35 million.
Yeah, I
tops.
could get, yeah.
I
I would say, like
really
you said, the quarterback's still going to be the number one paid spot. You know that. So, like you said,
Yeah,
like you said, anywhere from 25 to 35 mil. Yeah, that's a fine. 50, 60 mil. That's that's crazy.
It's absolute insanity. But you get Mahomes that's been in the Super Bowl 3 of the last 4 years, and he's won 2 or 3 of them, whatever it is. And then you get a guy like, say, Daniel Jones or some other quarterback that
Even
has
Tua.
successful yet,
Tua. Yeah.
and they want to get the same money. Be like, well, how come I'm not getting paid? Well, he's been to a Super Bowl and he's
Yeah. Exactly.
you can't even stay on the field for 16 fucking games. I don't know, man.
You would
hard.
see a different league. You would see a different league.
Sorry, boys.
That's okay. You would see a different league and a whole different league if you started saying, okay, if we win, your paycheck is $400,000. If we lose, it's only $200,000. You'd see a different league. The motivation would be you get paid by merit. Like if you remember Revis Island, he bet on himself and he made a chunk of money and he bet on himself and he did it by his play. He earned it. You know what I mean? You got to have respect for a guy like that.
Listen, half the players in the league are not playing for a championship. They're playing for a paycheck.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
That's why when you're watching the Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday and they'll turn around and it'll be like, okay, yeah, there's defensive back Tommy Florio. This will be his last game with his team because he's going to be free agent. They're already linking him over to this team and that team.
Right.
And they already know that the guy's going no matter what happens because they can't pay him.
Yep.
And like, why wouldn't you? I would rather take less money to stay with a team and possibly win championships.
Right. No, I agree.
I agree, but I don't think everybody has that thought process. And again, Hard Rocket Sports. That's Jeff. That's Frank Jeffrey. I'm Tom Florio. This is our 10-year anniversary and our 11th show. I want to jump in real quick. I want to get Paul on. He's been hanging in there, and I got booted off. Listen, it happens every so often. Hopefully it won't happen the rest of the night. But,
it was nice when you were gone, man.
Yeah, we were having a good time.
We didn't have to look at that. We didn't have to look at that jersey, man.
Listen.
Come
D.
on.
Jones, baby.
God.
D. Jones, baby. D. Jones.
Danny
we'll get to the
Dimes
Giants
being
a little bit.
represented.
We'll get to the Giants in a little bit, but let's get my buddy Paul Gill on.
Thank you, John.
Let's see. Thank you, Johnny Boy. Let's see what he's got to say. Thank you, Robert Finelli. We really appreciate it. Let's see what he wants to interject and how long he wants to hang is up to him. What's up, Paul Gill?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
What's up,
What's up, boy?
What's up,
Jeff, Tommy Florio, defensive back.
I
What?
was thinking the same thing. You could have thrown me a tackle.
Maybe linebacker.
You gotta
Defensive
feel
end.
good sometime. I mean, come
Throw
on.
me a tackle or something.
Come on, something. Defensive back. Get out of here. Where?
What are you gonna do? Listen, it's a fantasy we all have. That's all I can tell you. Thank you, Jeff. Give me a couple seconds of a fantasy. We played D-back in the NFL. So
There you go. Anyway, you guys, I got to tell you, I mean, I know you guys for more than 40 years each. Long ago, I decided to forego the fact that, Jeff is a Jet fan and you're a Yankee fan. And I love you guys. And I'm so proud of you for 10 years for doing this. It's so hard to find something that you got a passion for. And you guys obviously have a passion for this. And it shows every week. And I love you guys. And I'm really proud of you. Congratulations.
thank you, brother. We appreciate that, and you've been on the show quite a few times, and we do appreciate all the support and listen and our friends. And this, this show, I always said wanted to be, a couple of guys sitting on a bar stool just talking, and you never know where the conversation's going, and that's what it turns into. This is four guys sitting at a bar having a beer, and you go back and forth on a subject, and it turns into 50 things, and I appreciate everybody who's supported us along the way, and including yourself and all the guys, and with the events and bands and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's good. But Paul, while you're here, hang. You got a few minutes to hang with us and talk a little football, or you're running?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. You know me, I'm a baseball freak.
Yep.
I haven't paid a bit of attention to football. I am concentrated on my Mets kicking the shit out of your Yankees. And
Yes. And by the way, it's costing me a lunch. By the way, we bet the opening day, and it's costing me a lunch, Frankie.
I almost did a double or nothing, but I'm a Mets fan. So I was like, no. Let me quit while I'm ahead.
Quit while you're ahead. You got
Thank
that.
God, because I would have been dumb enough to take that bet, by the way. So thank God. Oh, yes.
But, no, I mean, I've been concentrated on baseball and the Mets and the Yanks, to tell you the truth, because, unlike when I was a kid, when we were kids, I don't hate the Yankees. Like, if they're not playing against the Mets, I'm a Yankee fan, to tell you the truth. Like, but I mean, what's going on with that
That's
Yankee
the problem
team?
with sports today, man. There's no fucking rivalry, no heated rivalry. Hate them. You're supposed to hate them.
Yeah, but the Mets and Yankees didn't play. I was just saying the same thing to Frankie Catalano, because
It's the problem is they play
it's
each
like
other.
Derek Jeter said, they're just the Mets. Like,
Yeah.
Listen, I can hear as I'm sitting here talking here. I hate the Dolphins. I like Frank Jeffrey, but I hate the Dolphins.
and I hate the Jets.
Remember, I have to hate you, Frank, because we're in the same division. It's just how it is. It is nothing personal, bro.
No, exactly.
Well,
Just
Paul
end
brought
the
it up.
season. Just end the season.
I have to ask you something, Paul. So I know you're a big baseball fan, and while you're a Met fan, you do watch the Yankees and around. As a Yankee fan, I am frustrated again. Now you know me well enough to know you never ever see me post. When the Yankees are going, 30-6 in the first month. I know that something's coming, but at some point now, as a Yankee fan, I've become very frustrated because it's the same thing over and over. Every year I have to expect that DJ LeMahieu and Gleyber Torres, are not going to go into this big funk. But the problem I have with this Yankee team is more than anything else, it is the lack of discipline, hustle, and baseball knowledge. A couple weeks ago, there was a Yankee game where I don't know if you guys remember seeing it, but Grisham dogged one in center field. Guy took second base. I think it was the Red Sox, the Orioles series. I think it was. Another play, LeMahieu hit. Somebody hits a ground ball to second base. LeMahieu doesn't stop, and to get into a rundown so the run could score. Volpe doesn't run fast enough. He doesn't score, and they lose the game and by a run. That is my biggest problem with the Yankees today: is the lack of discipline, lack of hustle, and it's accepted every single year.
That doesn't fall on the players, though, Tom.
No.
That's the coaches and the manager.
It falls on the players, but then it falls on the manager, Paul, to make it work. And I am frustrated and tired of the Aaron Boone going, we know what's in front of us. We're this, with that. Hey, Corey, how are you, buddy? I am fed up and tired of Aaron Boone. Is it the manager's fault, or is it, like Jeff said, is it the manager's fault, like Jeff thinks, or is it the player's fault?
You know what? Would Billy Martin have allowed that?
No, Torrey would allow
when
it.
Billy Martin went nose to nose with Reggie? I mean, that's the thing. It's
Took him out in the middle of the game.
It's a different mindset, completely different mindset now. And the thing is, it's like, I mean, not to bring up my beloved Mets, but like these guys run out balls, like they actually do that. I mean, they're not. I mean, I don't think they're as talented as the Yankees, to be honest with you, but they run out balls, and as a team game right now, they're playing better. But the thing is like back in the old days, no manager would allow some guy to dog it in the outfield, not make the throw, miss the cutoff man, none of that shit. Like that wouldn't have happened.
You can't yell at today's millionaires because then they'll get upset and then they're not going to want to play. Bad enough they play 2 or 3 games in a row, then they got to rest. They got to take a day off. They're overpriced bitches. That's it.
But Frank Jeffrey, let me ask you a question. If I don't know if you saw the play, Grisham is a single center. Grisham dogs the ball. The guy winds up at second base. To me, if I'm the manager, To me, I would have pulled him out in the middle of the inning. But at the very least, at the end of that inning, he's getting pulled out of the game. And when the game's over, I'm saying that the guy dogged it and it was out. Why?
Yeah.
Tom, you're
Well, that's
what
what I
you're saying
said.
right
If
now
you remember,
is a prime example because nobody's doing anything about it. So the guy knows nothing's going to happen.
Exactly.
The next inning, and fuck it, I ain't got to rush. I don't want to take a shower after the game. I'm not sweating tonight. That's all.
well, you had that infamous Billy Martin, Reggie Jackson fist fight in the dugout because Billy Martin felt he dogged it and he said, "Come off the field now."
Right.
I don't care who you are. Come off now.
That's right.
And that, you know what I mean? Like these guys are like Jeff said, they're afraid that these little bitches will cry to mommy.
I mean,
yeah, it's sad.
It is sad.
I mean, the last guy on the bench is making more than the manager is.
Yeah,
I know exactly.
I get it. I get it. But all right, so let me get to two more topics, Paul, before you run. If you're the Mets, are you going all in, and do you sign Alonso to the long deal that he wants?
Wow, you just hit me in the heart there because
I
you know
got
what? I've wanted to sign Alonso from the beginning, but I got to tell you, I'm starting to waver. What I don't want to do is let him go to free agency. So if we're not going to be serious about him coming in, holding hands with Scott Boras,
Trade him at the deadline.
Do it now. Get it
I
done.
agree.
You know, I mean, get something.
But you can't sign him. You can't give him the 7-8 year deal he wants for $30 million because 2 years from now, based on right now, he's a slugger. That's it. He's not a great first baseman, not terrible, but not great. He doesn't hit for average. In 3 years, the back's going to go, and he's not going to be the same player. Now, and if I'm the Mets, I'm using the excuse, and you got to do it. You got to sign Soto. You got to say we're all in on Juan Soto, and we're not going to pay both of them.
I send my youngest son Tyler a picture of Juan Soto in a Met uniform every day because the little bastard is a Yankee fan. You believe this?
Yes, but I'll be honest with you. I think Juan Soto will be a Met next year. That is the piece that they need. He's going to spend every nickel he can, and he will do it. I believe that Juan Soto will be a New York Met next year. If he likes New York, and he's good, the Yankees are never going to give him that kind of money.
Yeah, but he likes to play with Judge. It's more about
the Yankees are never going to give him.
Frankie's right about that, though. Frankie's right about that because I see the two of them looking at each other, and they're having fun.
I agree, but there's no way. But I guarantee you, he will get $55 million for 10 years. The Yankees will never give him that. He's going to get $550 or better, and the Mets. And if you're Cohen, you're going all in. You got to think the one thing he doesn't have is the superstar player.
Right.
That's the guy. And if you're going to pay anybody, and think about it, the next few years, there isn't that player out there. This is the type. This is the guy if you're gonna go get and pay that ridiculous money. I mean, the guys. It doesn't always work. Look at Trout. Trout's been terrible. Who knows where he's even been lately?
Right.
Soto's going to be a Met.
Again, isn't he, Trout?
I think
He's
hurt
again. Yeah.
But
Yes,
having said that, Paul, the Mets are still basically a 500 team, a little bit better right now. Are you all in at the play? Are you trading Beatty or Vientos or somebody of that ilk, because that's what you're going to trade, or Pete to come back with another pitcher, a bullpen help, and probably somebody in the field? Are you going to make those moves this year, or are you writing it off and saying we're going to be as good as we can be and we worry next year? What do you want, King Steve to do?
I think that they're going to make the moves. I think they're going to trade from the farm system, which we're fairly rich in. They're going to trade from the farm system. I think you're going to see Beatty gone because I think they are now sold on Vientos, and so am I actually. But I think they're going to bring in a pitcher. I think they're going to bring in this guy Crotchet from Chicago. They're going to bring that kid in. They're going to. I mean, people talking about Kevin Pillar or some kind of crap like that. But I think they're going to bring in an outfielder and a pitcher, maybe something in the pen, and they're going to go with it. I think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I would have said my criteria for the Mets was get the 10 games over. If you get the 10 games over at the break, then you're a real team. If you're still hovering at 500, I still got to believe you're not quite good enough. But I don't think they're completely away from it. I think it's real close. I just think you're going to have to make a drastic deal for a really good player. And I'll tell you another one, both for Frankie and Paul, real quick. If I were the Yankees, I would trade Juan Soto right now. I would trade Soto right now because you're never going to sign him. If he's going to come back, he's going to come back for the money either way. You're not winning the World Series this year the way this team's going. This team is not built to win it. They're not going to win a World Series. I would trade Juan Soto right now and think about what you could get back to a team who's looking to win a championship. I would trade him tomorrow. You're not winning a championship, and you're not signing him because he's on your team this year.
Hey, Tom. I'm Steve Cohen. Who do you want?
Yeah, that's the. Now I might not trade him to Steve Cohen. That's a question. I don't think I would trade him there. That might be a tough pull. But if you're a team that's fighting for, listen. Look at this Yankee team. It's not winning a World Series. So unless you're going to make some major moves as a Yankee fan, I say trade him now and get something huge back.
I think you're going to see them trade some of them, like the Dominguez, some of them big prospects they got, Jones, because like you said, that's when you're going to know if they're going to be serious about Soto or not. If they trade those young prospect outfielders that we have that everybody wants, if they trade them for some pitching help or for some infield help, you know they're going to sign Soto because they're going to say, this is going to be our outfield. And you guys ain't going to crack that outfield for the next 10 years anyway.
Well, but Jones could crack the outfield next year if you dump it
Soto.
Right. So, but again, I think right now you're not winning a World Series, and you're not going to sign him based on him being on a team.
Right.
So,
and I'll tell you why I think the Mets should sign Alfonso, because the reason why is I know he's not the greatest first baseman. He's a slugger. The National League has a DH now. So he can go start DH, and they can start doing like they did with Judge, where, okay, pay first base couple
but
games.
Do you want to pay him 7 years, $30 million?
No, I don't know if I want to pay him that much.
The problem. But that's what he's going to get. He should get Olsen.
That's what it is.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah. If you can tell me you can get him for 5 years, $22 million a year, like the deal that Matt Olson got, I'd say sign him. But if you're going to pay him 30 plus for 7-8 years better, he didn't sign with Scott Boras because he wanted to give you a team-friendly deal.
Right. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
But you got to remember, if the Mets want to go for Soto, they got to have chips that says Soto thinks they're going to win, because that's what he's looking for. He's looking to win.
Yeah,
he likes New York. He likes to be with New York.
He's already won
someplace where he's going to win. He wants World Series.
He's already won a World Series. It's all about the dollars. He would love to win a championship, but if the team that is a team that's possibly a winner offers him the same or more money than the team that may be the front runner, he's taking the money. He's not going someplace that he's taking less money to win a championship. That guy wants to make every dollar he can because he's got a chance to do it. And I'm telling you, he's going to get short of Ohtani. He's getting the biggest deal. And I would think it's $550 or $600 million. He's going to want $600 million. That's where he's headed. Whether it's 12 years at $50 million or 10 years at $60 million, that guy's going for the big numbers. And yes, championships are great. He ain't all about championships. So flat out. But if I'm the Yankees, make the move right now. I think the Mets have turned it around. I think it's great. I wouldn't go all in and trade future pieces unless you think that you got it, because it's this is the mad scramble, Paul.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's got a lot. We still got a whole second half to play. The dog days.
A lot of game left.
But we'll see. Well, real quick, give me your thoughts on the Giants real fast. Are we rebuilding this year, or we got a chance to make a statement? And I got
what? Like I say every year, and it's really just to make fun of Jeff. All I know is we're going to be at least one game better than the Jets.
The fuck out of here. Listen, I see you with your fucking glass. We'll put it back in the sink. Go get a water. Start straightening up. You're a mess.
Well, thanks, brother. We appreciate you calling. Thank you very much, my man.
All right. Congrats on the 10, and I'll see you guys soon.
You got it. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. That's Paul Gill.
Take it easy, Paulie boy.
Paul and I. Yep, that's my man, Paul Gill. Thank you for checking in, Paul. It's been a great. All right, so let's get back to some football, boys, and let's do our thing. I'm going to run down some topics. I got a lot of them, so let's go as quick as we can. New kickoff rule. Both of you guys, I don't know if you saw it. Real quick, both teams line up on the offensive side. One's at the 40-yard line. The receiving team's at the 35. Nobody moves till the ball's kicked and caught or bounces on the ground. And then there's different things. If you kick it out of the end zone, the ball goes to the 35-yard line. If you drop it in the field to play or into the end zone, I think it goes to the 20 to 25. Again, this is basically they're going to hurt the team that kicks the ball out of the end zone. They're trying to make more people field the ball and return it by eliminating guys sprinting down the field and banging into each other. Jeff, you've been quiet for a little while. Your thoughts on a new kickoff rule?
Well, let's not kick the ball off at all. Just have the punt to throw the ball to them. And just that they can't run the ball. Nobody could go anywhere until the guy gets a 10-yard run. Once he hits 10 yards, then they could go after him. It's like, listen, there are football players, play the game of football. I understand you got to try to make some safety concessions. But, I mean, that sounds like a bit much, man. Half the people ain't even going to remember all of that.
I actually I like the rule, Frankie, but here's what I like about it. It's forcing teams to put the ball in play. If you kick it out of the end zone, the other team gets the ball on the 40 or the 45.
40, yeah. If you kick it out of the end zone, it's the same as kicking it out of bounds. They get it out of the 40-yard line.
Right.
You have to kick it within that 10 yards.
Half these guys are punting the ball out of the end zone like it's nobody's business.
Well, that's what they're forcing them now to put the ball. They're forcing them now to keep the ball in play, and they want the kickoff return to happen because it's one of the most exciting plays in football, guys. So, Frankie, are you a fan of this version of the XFL UFL kickoff rule?
I like it because it's a good compromise. Like Jeff said, you got to go for safety. And, not everybody's going to do like we used to do where one guy stands down there and 20 of us go to tackle him. But, hey, that was fun. But like you said, for safety, I like it because, like you said, if you kick it out of the end zone, it's the same foul as if you kick it out of bounds. They're getting the ball on the 40. If the ball bounces at, let's say, the 3 or 4 yard line and goes in the end zone, the runner can down it. Then they get the ball at the normal 20-yard line, like a regular downing. But like I said, like you said, it puts the ball in play and it gives you a play on the kickoff, a chance for somebody to break it, run, and score a touchdown on the kickoff. The way it is now, you're only 22% of the kickoffs last year were even returned for anything. And that's just it's not a good play.
Most of the kickoffs went through the end zone.
Yep.
80%. Yeah. So to me, that's why I like this rule. All right, let's move on to the change in landscape. So we talked about it real quick. Let's get into a little bit on the AFC East. To me, that's the biggest change. No Bill Belichick in New England for the first time, Jeff, in 20-something years. We have a change in the guard, I think, so to speak. I think could have happened last year. So, Jeff, the Dolphins should be better. The Jets are better. Does it translate? Where do the rest of the league, the division, wind up? I mean, what right now? Who's at the top of the pyramid, Jeff?
Until the Bills are unseated, it's still their division to me. I mean, they're not the same team they were last year, and the Dolphins and Jets are definitely better than they were in previous years. The Jets more so, of course, because if they have a real quarterback, but unfortunately he's in his 40s, and if that offensive line is better, then they're capable of doing a lot better than they did. They won 7 games last year with Zach Wilson and a ragtag quarterback bunch. I'm not going to say that they would have won 11, 12 games last year if they had a regular quarterback, but they definitely would have done better. I think it's going to come down to Miami and the Jets for that division. I wouldn't count Buffalo out, though. I really wouldn't. They got Josh Allen. He's an incredible talent. And you just got to see if they replace some of the players they lost, if they got good fit for them.
Yeah, I agree. But Frankie, I think the Buffalo Bills, first off, they've got rid of Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. They're 2 big running backs. They got rid of Singletary, one of their backs. Is this a reboot year for the Bills?
I think the Bills are definitely in a downward swing. It's not even about what happens offense, because offense is still gonna click because you got Josh Allen. So he's gonna make the guys that he's got there a little bit better around him. They're not that good offensively now with missing all those pieces. The problem they're having is they lost a lot of pieces on defense. A lot. Yeah. Their defense is shredded, and it wasn't that good last year. They struggled. I mean, you're hoping Von Miller's going to be Von Miller of the Denver Broncos. It's not going to happen. He's older. He's been hurt 2 or 3 times now. It's not going to happen. I think, like Jeff said, the division is for the Dolphins and the Jets to win. It's for them to just fuck up. You know what I mean? It's their division. The Jets or the Dolphins could win that division if they play right, play smart, and play hard. And like I said, hopefully no injuries. Injuries will be a key part. And I think it is the Jets division. I think the Jets, to me, if I had to predict right now, I'd say Jets first, Dolphins and Bills fighting for second, Patriots done.
See, this is why I got to disagree with Frank, though.
Go ahead.
The Jets have no experience at where they are. They're going to get some experience this year. Okay, they're a better team than they were last year. I don't know if they're going to realize that they're a better team and if they're going to know how to play when it comes down to it, that they have to play to win. You know, they don't have the experience.
They got enough veterans that came in that'll influx that win race.
You got to hope that they all blend together and are ready to play. You know, Miami, say what you want about Miami, but they got Tyreek Hill. You know, They have a couple guys. Tyreek Hill is a game changer in his own. Waddle is a game changer. They have a lot of weapons, and they have the smarts. They've been in the playoffs.
The thing I worry about Miami, I would say Miami would be a Super Bowl contending team this year if they improved their linebacking core. They did not. And they got weaker in the trenches, both offensive line and defensive line. They lost some key components. That's going to hurt them. So it's going to be what they replaced it with, how they play is going to be the difference. If they step up and play, we're going to be okay. If they don't, we're going to be just a 10-6 team or 10-17.
Well, frankly, to that extension, Christian Wilkins is gone. Is Andrew Van Ginkel, Raekwon Davis, Jerome Baker, all of those guys started, big games for them. Those guys are all gone now.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So right now, we'll get some early looks at Chop Robinson. You'll get Shaq Barrett.
Yep.
So you got some players, but have they done enough to make this defense better? And Tua's gone into camp with the chip on the shoulder of, I want to get paid.
Yep. You got the Tua drama, and you got, like I said, that core missing on the interior line. That's going to hurt them. That's going to keep them from being a Super Bowl contender. They'll still contend for a playoff spot. Yes, I do believe they're still good enough for that. But to be like that next level, Super Bowl, AFC Championship, you got to see what happened. Like you said, what they do, because they didn't do. I don't think they did enough to fix what they lost. You know what I mean? Same thing I said about Buffalo happens with the Dolphins. They didn't take a step forward enough.
Yeah, and I agree. I think the Dolphins had that playoff loss to Kansas City a couple of years ago, that great football game that they lost in the shootout. That was their year. That was the year they were supposed to win the Super Bowl, and of course they didn't. Hey, Jeff, talking about the Jets a little bit, though. So, here's the big question I would have for you, Jeff. And I think it's the Jets are one of those teams where if they stay healthy on defense again, and they were remarkably healthy on defense last year, and they had a great defense. Offensively, obviously, we're still questioning about the offensive line. We still question who's really is the second receiver. I mean, is Alan Lazard really in? We were hoping Mike Williams comes back. The big question is going to be, what can you really expect out of your quarterback this year, coming off of almost 2 years of inactivity? Do you expect him to be Aaron Rodgers of 3 years ago, or do you feel like he's you need half of that with this team, and you're still going to be good enough to win?
Well, right off the bat, there was too many questions within your question, to be honest with you. So that's why that worries me. If they're good, if they don't have no injuries on defense, who's their second wide receiver? Will Aaron Rodgers be a good quarterback? Will he be half of what he once was? I'll take Rodgers first. If Rodgers is half the quarterback he was, he's still going to be 2 times the quarterback the Jets have had in the last 10 years. So they might be able to get away with that, only because not so much his physical play, his smarts. He's going to be smart on the football field. That's going to help him. They drafted that kid in the second round or whatever, or third round, whatever is that receiver.
Yep.
Malachi something. I can't remember his name. I guess they're projecting him as their second receiver. If not, Garrett Wilson is going to, have issues again. And they'll just, double team him. But it comes down to, first of all, that offensive line staying healthy. Second of all, Rodgers staying healthy. And third of all, are they going to be able to move the ball? Is Brees Hall 100%? I believe he is.
I would say he's probably back, first time back to being 100% of what he was. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking a lot of big things about Brees Hall, that he's going to be one of the better backs in the league. Then once again, here we're talking about the Jets. So now what does that mean? They got one of the better backs in the league. Are they going to be a pass-happy team and they'll run the ball 12 times a game and get 35 yards? And you know what I mean?
He'll get catches out of the backfield and stuff too. So he's going to be a big part of the game.
Well,
I hope so.
Let me ask you guys this real quick. I thought about this during the week, and I couldn't answer it for myself. So, Frank, I'll let you go first. If the Jets go 11-6, right, get to the playoffs and get beat first round, is Aaron Rodgers back next year? And, Jeff, I'm going to ask you the same question, so I have an answer ready. Is his sticking around predicated on not necessarily, 15-2 season, but if they don't have a deep run in the playoffs this year, does he wind it up again back next year?
I say yes, and I'll tell you why I say yes. The Jets have unfortunately painted themselves in a corner. So they've got a 2-year window of where they can definitely win with Rodgers. So they're going to have to roll it back next year. So I think he'll come back next year. But then after that, if they don't win, they're going to be rebuilding.
Jeff, what are your thoughts on that one?
I'm going to elaborate a little on what Frank said, because he did bring up a lot of good points. But one, who are they going to replace him with?
Right.
You know what I mean? There's nobody else that's going to be near him that they can replace him with. And who says that he's going to be all that good this year? We have to hope that he's going to be good this year. Maybe he comes out and he has a shitty year, and he's going to force the Jets to be 8-10, 8-11, whatever the fuck it is they're going to be. You got to see how this guy plays. And not for nothing, he already seems to have ruffled some feathers this offseason with some of the things he said and some of the things that he did. So, I mean, I think that they're going to want to get rid of him and move on, as soon as they can. So if it's this year and next year, they're not going to want to keep him around too long, because he's only going to annoy more people. That. That's what he does.
Well, having said that, and thank you, Jeff, because it's a great preview for me on this one. Frankie, let me ask you a question. There was a whole big talk about the OTAs and the mandatory camp and Rodgers not showing up. Jeff had a take of, who cares? The guy doesn't need the camp, and I totally agree with Jeff's take on that. But on my end of it, I say it doesn't matter unless they lose early. If they lose early, then it's going to be a problem. But here's my big question to you two guys. I understand it's not a big deal. He came back, said, I went to Egypt. The team knew I was going to Egypt. Was it handled properly by the Jets? Should they have come out and said, we told him it was okay? And is it a big deal when your star player who's preaching not ruffling feathers and not causing problems misses mandatory minicamp? Is it that big a deal, Frank?
Yes. It's leadership. We were just talking about that. They don't have a lot of guys in there that know how to win. He's got to be the example in the room, showing them, listen, this is what we got to do to win. You got to come here. You got to do this. You got to put your nose in the book and learn the plays. You got to run the plays. You got to make sure you're 100% every play. He's got to be that leader. And by not showing up, I think not showing up to the OTAs is a much bigger deal than people saying it. And the Jets handled it wrong. The Jets should have came out and said, we have mandatory OTAs, but we already know Rodgers won't be here because he had a pre-engagement, whatever they wanted to say, and stood up for him, and they didn't. So I think that is a big problem. If you're the leader, you got to be there.
I agree. Jeff, now I know you disagree because we've had this conversation.
Yes, but here's the thing, okay? Right now is the first time that motherfucker went to Egypt.
Yes.
You were off. You got hurt in September.
Yeah.
You had, for when you got operated on, until fucking July.
Yes.
To go to fucking Egypt.
Yes.
Why the fuck are you going to Egypt in fucking July anyway?
Well, this is his take was, there was 10.
They're only visible in fucking the summertime.
No, well, I don't know why he had to go at that point, but his rationale was he did as much work as he would have done in the 10 voluntary OTAs than he did if he would have missed all the voluntary OTAs to go to Egypt and made the mandatory mini camp. He basically said the team should have said it was an excused absence, But guys, realistically, they couldn't.
It's not an excused absence.
Anybody could have did it.
Right.
It's not an excused absence.
I agree.
No.
An excused absence is my parents were in a fucking car accident. They're gone.
Right.
Okay? My house burned down with everything I own except for what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My wife ran off with the Haitian football team. You know, those are excused absences. Not I want to go in Europe. I mean, Egypt. Egypt. For what, a camel ride? To
I
take
don't.
you to the pyramid? Are you fucking kidding me?
This is why he's Aaron Rodgers. Now, listen. If September 28th, the Jets are 3-1, nobody's going to care. But if they're one,
right, but you know something, Frankie brought up a good point, which is 100%. Show the people that you're in, even if you feel as though that you're going to minicamp, but you don't want to do anything physical yet. I don't feel I'm 100%. I'm ready to do anything physical. Be out on the field, stand there with a clipboard, take notes. Tell people what you think they're doing wrong and what the team can do to be better. We all know that you've played 20 years in the NFL. We all know that you've seen just about every possible scenario in the NFL, except for the fucking pyramids during minicamp. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Be a leader.
it's the truth.
You know, it's one of the things you learn. One of the things I learned in the fire service when I was teaching my cadets when they wanted to be officers and I was doing training to be officers. I used to tell them the shadow you cast. If you cast the shadow of you're lazy, you're not a hard worker, your team is going to be lazy and not hardworking and not prepared for a scene. If you cast the shadow of I'm ready to go, I know everything here, I've got control of the situation, and this is what we're going to do, your team will be 100% ready to operate. And the shadow he's casting is like, hey, I'm going to Egypt to see the pyramids, screw mandatory practice, even though I haven't played in 2 years. I mean, it's a bad look. It's a bad look. It's not a leader.
The only thing that I gotta do the flip side of this, Frank. This is what me and Tommy do. I gotta do.
It's fine. It's okay. Do it.
Here he is. He's already shown in the past that he was a leader. He's already shown in the past that he's been through a lot in the NFL. He has been injured the last 2 years. Maybe he wants to take it easy. If he was there,
Right.
There is no reason. There is no excuse. Anything. Nothing that would be okay for him to go to Egypt. Nothing.
No. I agree with you. I'm not saying he has to be on the field and throwing 90-yard bombs down the field.
I agree with everything.
Like you said, be on the sideline, hold the clipboard, teach Tyrod Taylor how to be Aaron Rodgers.
He's going to be a leader on that team regardless because he's as old as he's been in the league longer than some of these guys have been alive that are playing.
That doesn't in a football. Tommy knows this. In a football locker room, your tender does not matter to the people in that locker room because there's guys that are playing 20, 30 years and you look at him and he's sitting on the bench and saying, this guy's a piece of shit. Okay. And then there's a guy that's been in for 3 or 4 years and you're watching him go crazy and working hard with you and in the ditches with you. And you're like, I respect that guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know. I hear you.
Yeah.
I think you guys are saying the same exact thing. Believe me, you guys are saying the same exact thing.
we are.
Yeah.
I realize
it is
that too, Tom.
Yeah, very annoying. It's very annoying.
It is.
When you find out what the reason was.
Yeah.
So like maybe he had a relative that was sick or something of that nature. But Egypt, really?
That is the reason. Again, that's Jeff. I'm Tom. This is the Hard Rock Sports Show.
Years ago, we went out into the desert to fucking trip his balls off. Remember?
Yes, that's Jeff. I'm Tom. This is the Hard Rock Sports Show. We're celebrating 10 years on the air today. Yeah, Jeff. And this is our buddy Frank Jeffries joining us tonight. And hopefully, Frank, you'll be on regularly during the football season, whenever he feels up to it and wants to be a part of it. We always like to get his analysis, if it's for 5 minutes or for 2 hours on a Thursday night. We always love any of you guys to be part of the show, but Frankie and I talk football regularly and sports in general, so we'll help him. Frankie, while Jeff's away, let's talk a little bit. I'm going to switch to some quarterback stuff. Is it surprising to you? Now, Jerry Jones came out and said that he fully expects Dak to be a Cowboy, but does it surprise you that Dak Prescott going into the season does not have a contract going with the Cowboys for next year?
It's really it's like a catch-22. It does surprise me a little bit. You would figure Jerry Jones would nail that down, but I almost feel like Jerry Jones has got a different avenue he's looking at, because.
Well, do you think Jerry Jones is trying to reset the market and not pay him $60 million? because that's where it's headed. He's gonna be looking for $60 million, and I don't think Jerry Jones wants to give him that. And at what point this year, if you're Jones, do you go ahead and sign? Because let's say Dak goes out there and wins a Super Bowl this year, which he won't, but let's say he does. Then the sky's the limit, and now you're going to pay $60-something million a year for a quarterback that you've already won a championship with. Or at some point, what's the cutoff point that you say he's just not going to be a quarterback for our team next year?
I would think it's the low 50s. I think he's still going to get that. He's going to get like somewhere between 48 and 53. I don't think he's going to go up into the 60s. I don't think Jerry Jones wants to go up into the 60s. I think Jerry Jones is going to say, look, you want to come here? You want to be a Cowboy? This is what we're going to pay you because we have to have a team around you. If we pay you $60 million, we don't have a team around you. And it does us no good to do that. He's too old to waste all his cap on Dak and not win Super Bowls. He wants a Super Bowl.
I listen, guy's 80-something years old, and he's looking for one now. Jeff, we're just talking about Frank Catalano. Just to answer Frank Catalano real quick. Frankie, LeBron James holding the flag for the United States in the Olympic for the opening ceremonies. You might as well bring Megan Rapinoe out there and let her walk side by side with him. There's no bigger racist. I'll say it flat out. He's a racist. Yep. He hates white people. Yep. He hates America. And for him to be the guy carrying the flag is sickening to me. And now I will not watch the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. And it's bad enough that I got to watch that and then Simone Biles pretending she's a team player showing up this year now for the Olympics after quitting on her team 4 years ago. It's pathetic and sickening and really making me not want to watch the Olympics. That's just my take on it. I don't know if you guys want to expand on that, but LeBron James,
totally agree.
LeBron James, shouldn't you be a premier athlete for the country you're representing to hold a flag? LeBron James probably isn't even the best player on the Lakers at this point in time in his career, much less in the NBA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, why would you put a has-been?
For me, if you're talking about like a Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan, in his later years, he's on the Olympic team, and out of respect for what he's done for the game, you want him to carry the flag. I get that side of it. The side I don't get it is, like you said, his political views and outright coming out and saying, I never liked white people. I only want to hang with my brothers. I mean, come on.
Again, you're representing the entire nation, not just one half of the nation.
Exactly.
And the bigger problem I have is if you sit for the anthem and you don't respect this country, I can't put you out there to represent us.
Why are you carrying the flag? If you don't like the flag and you don't respect
you can pick the worst athlete in the Olympics. You can pick the most unknown guy. It's about the love of your country. That's why you're out there. You're not representing yourself. You're representing your country. And I think that's the problem I have with that. And that's why I stopped watching. I used to love watching women's soccer. I won't watch it anymore. I won't watch them. So to Frankie,
I'm the same way. And like you said, Tom, you're not representing yourself or your agenda or your platform. You're supposed to represent the United States of America.
Yeah, Jeff, if you want to do that at a Lakers game, I kind of get it. I don't agree. But if you're at the Olympics and you're wearing your team colors, that's it.
Once you do it, no matter where your platform is, whatever your gripe is, whatever, once you do it in a public forum and you're an athlete of that magnitude, you already ruined yourself. There's no coming back.
I agree.
There's no coming back unless you went the next day and say, you know what? I don't agree with the policies of this country or of this government or this or that. I did the wrong thing because I disparaged my country because of what I'm going to stand out of respect for my country. I don't have to like what they're doing and what their policies are. Yeah. Okay, there's nothing wrong with saying that. I dislike the policies of that man.
Sure.
That's it. But I love my country and I'm going to stand for my fucking country and my country. I don't think that he should be carrying the flag, and that's all there is to it. I think that he ruined
because you don't represent me.
He did, but you know what? They all did it anyway. So what's the difference?
No, I agree. So again, the Olympics will be tarnished for me. I will watch it. I love watching the Olympics. It's one of those things that to me is an event that you tune in for, and there's a lot of great athletes, but there are just too many nowadays that just hate this country or hate people of this country. And to me, if you're wearing the colors, and God forbid I see anybody who doesn't stand for our flag or they pull some bullshit, I'm going to lose it. And that's why we do the show here, so we can have a forum to let you know. But great question. Hey, Jeff, I just asked Frankie about Dak Prescott. Do you think Jerry Jones is trying to reset the quarterback market or change things in his end by letting Dak Prescott go into this season without a contract for next year? Do you think he's trying to redo, maybe try to get rid of Dak and quarterback this year?
I think he's telling Dak Prescott, you have great seasons, and then we get to the playoffs and you disappear. Let's see what you can do and get us through a couple rounds, maybe get us to the Super Bowl before he spends the kind of money on him that he's looking for. Listen, Dak isn't going to be looking for $20 million a year.
No, we know it's 60.
You know what I mean?
We know what 60 he's looking for. Yeah, and I get it, but that's what he's looking for.
Of course. But the sad part is you know what? If he doesn't get it with Jerry Jones, he will get it from somebody else.
It's possible. Absolutely.
And it's just a matter of who will that somebody else be. And I can tell you.
And then who do the Cowboys have?
It doesn't matter who the Cowboys have. But here's the thing. We have 3 teams right here, right now, that could possibly go after him. You just never know. The Jets could be tired of Aaron Rodgers and say, well, we'll give it a go. He's been successful. The Giants play him in their division. If they're done with Daniel Jones, they got to get somebody. Frankie, if they get rid of Tua down in Miami, would they go after Dak? Would they spend the money on Dak? Would a team like that? Who knows?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Okay, guys, let's move on. Like I said, I got a ton of topics, so I want to keep it moving. We talk about it all the time. It's the same teams. New England has taken a step back. So, are the Chiefs ready to fall apart? Who are the hot teams this year? I will tell you my 2 hot teams that I'm watching this year. One is the Lions. I was on them last year. I think both Jeff and I, we were all over the Lions last year. And I was very disappointed in how it ended for them. They should have beat the 49ers. And I think their coach did a horrendous job in that game and cost them a chance to play in the Super Bowl. I also like the Texans. I think the Texans are maybe that team in the AFC to sneak out of there. Do you guys, Frank, Jeff, do you have 2 teams that you would say, hey, maybe these guys are a little off the radar or not expected? These are my teams I'm really watching.
I like the Lions too. I think the Lions, like you said, they were just a stupid play,
yep.
Right? From doing something. I think the Lions, and they got a little bit better too, and now now they've got continuity and they know what it's like. I like the Lions this year. My second team, actually, it's funny. I'm going to go Green Bay Packers. I think the Packers did enough to improve themselves, and the NFC is open. The AFC, I think, until somebody knocks off the Chiefs, I think it's going to be the Chiefs. They still got enough of their core players around. Their defense is still solid. They're going to be that.
Okay. Jeff, how about you, Jeff? You got a couple teams at least?
I'm going to make Frank shut up and drop his phone right now. You ready?
Go ahead.
2 teams. I'm not going to take the Lions like you guys. I'm going to tell you why. Because I believe they're already arrived. I think they're going to be a really good team this year. And I think that they're going to be worth their weight, okay, when they get out on the field. I would say I think Chicago is going to make strides this year.
Wow. Okay.
I think they added a lot of pieces. I'm saying they're going to win the division or win a playoff game, but they're not going to be the same team that they were the last couple of years. I think that they're going to take it, and they're going to be a lot better this year. And I agree with you, Tom. I got to say the Houston Texans, if that kid Stroud continues to improve, he may be one of the best quarterbacks in the league next year. This year coming up, he could be a top 5 quarterback.
I definitely see Houston. I definitely see that with Houston. I see what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. Boy, Matt's chiming in with his bad back. He's probably being stretched out right now after his move.
I think he's eating too many Percocets. Don't mix the Percocets.
I totally disagree on the Eagles. I think the Eagles have become.
Well, I'm talking about the Jets as Jets.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't think that's crazy. I really don't. I really don't think
that's crazy either, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy. I think that could easily be the AFC Championship game. The other one, I don't know about the Falcons. I think they're better. The Eagles, here's my problem with the Eagles. The Eagles are the typical team that loses the Super Bowl, right, and then can't get it back at all. Look at it happens to everybody. It happens to them all. Falcons, they were a half away from winning the Super Bowl, and they completely fell apart. The Eagles last year, 2 years ago, they lose a heartbreaker in the Super Bowl. Last year they start out 10-1. They fall apart in the second half of that, and they get beat in the playoffs. I think the Eagles are going to wind up minimum of second, probably third in that division this year. I will be surprised if the Eagles rebound because they're going all in and they lost two big pieces. I disagree with Matt on that one.
Listen, I got to say something.
Yeah.
I respect you. I watch you. I read everything that you guys write in that chat. I don't add much because I don't know the game like you guys do. I don't know the players like you guys do. But I know this as a Jet fan. I am so beaten. And it's almost like being a little kid. And they say, well, Joe is spending the weekend with us. But Uncle Joe is bad. And whenever Uncle Joe comes over, something bad happens. And that's the Jets. The Jets, it's just a matter of what's going to happen and how is it going to happen. Is a plane going to come out of nowhere and land in the stadium when they're like 2 seconds away from winning a game and it gets canceled? Anything that can happen with that team is going to happen. Until they do it, I just cannot stand behind anything, predictions that say the Jets are going to do this or the Jets are going to do that. I just can't. I'm so beaten down as a Jet fan for so many years. Matt, I thank you. It's nice to see somebody write it. I just can't, dude. I can't.
Because you've been scorned.
Scorned.
You know who else I think is going to surprise a lot of people this year, Tommy?
I think
I'm going to call them the Washington Redskins.
There you go. That's why I do
the Commanders.
We don't do Commanders here. We don't do Commanders here. We say Redskins. So we're all.
I think the Redskins are going to surprise people in that division. I really do.
I don't. Again, now that they've gotten rid of Rivera and they've traded off some of those 25 defensive linemen that they picked over the last couple of years, I think they'll be better. I still don't think they're quite there. I still think it's a Cowboys division.
No,
yeah, I think it'll be a fight for second. I think any one of the three teams could have a decent year and wind up second. It'll be the Cowboys and then the three. I would be shocked if it wasn't.
The NFC East is probably going to be the AFC East in a year or two.
Yeah, I would agree.
With the Redskins and the Giants overtaking the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Yeah, and it happens.
It takes time.
Absolutely.
Except for the Jets. It's like a broken record. They hit the skip and they go back to the beginning again.
I'm going to give you guys three teams with quarterback situations. This isn't all of them. There are a lot of teams out there with quarterback situations. There are three teams that I think have weird or bad quarterback situations. You guys are going to tell me which one's the worst and give me the perplexing ones, right? I'll give you three teams. Pittsburgh Steelers with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Second one is the Atlanta Falcons with Kirk Cousins and drafting Michael Penix at number 8 in the draft after bringing in Kirk Cousins. And number 3 is the Las Vegas Raiders with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell as their quarterbacks. Guys, these are the most perplexing one for me is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The fact that they drafted Kenny Pickett, then they got rid of Kenny Pickett, and they brought in Russell Wilson, who's been failing. Sorry, Frank Catalano, has been failing everywhere for the last 5 years, and Justin Fields, who has basically turned into a bust, has perplexed me. So, Jeff, those are the three teams.
First of all, I don't know if I call Justin Fields a bust. Just last year at this time, he was the greatest player to ever grace the NFL. I don't know what happened and how he got traded for, a 6th-round pick.
Something like that.
2031. That I don't know how that happened.
So,
but a lot of people were looking at him like what he did. But I think the worst situation has to be the Raiders situation when Gardner Minshew may be the best quarterback on your team, and he's not a bad quarterback.
Yeah.
There's no other option. What is that guy, like 5'6"? It's not a good option. In Pittsburgh, they're hoping that Justin Fields may be able to learn probably behind Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson, they're hoping he could probably come out and play for a year or two. And I don't think that Atlanta drafting Michael Penix was such a bad move. Let him sit for a year or two and learn behind Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins hasn't won a Super Bowl yet in the NFL. So it's not like they went out and got a quarterback that's been to the Super Bowl for the last 3 out of the last 4 years and won 2 of them. a guy, he was a fucking tackle dummy, and ended up getting his fucking Achilles shredded up.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not let him sit and learn behind him?
Okay.
I agree with you, Jeff. I think Atlanta did the right thing. They did what the Packers did when they drafted Rodgers and the Packers did when they drafted Love. They learned from it. It's a learning league. I think it's a smart move. What the Raiders is, I don't. That's a shit show. That's a shit show. There's another way to explain it.
Right now,
The
we know
Pittsburgh Steelers intrigue me. I'll tell you why the Pittsburgh Steelers intrigue me. If you remember, Tommy, a few years ago, people were like, "Who the hell's Cordell Stewart?" And they kept bringing him in here and there to run single wings or different plays, and they did like a little tandem quarterback, and they were very successful in doing that. I think you might see a little bit of that happening again this year, especially like with Russell Wilson, because he's older. They'll say, "Okay, we'll have 2 playbooks. This is when Russell Wilson's in, and this is when Field is in," just like they did with Cordell Stewart, and it was successful.
I got you, but there's an old adage that I love to repeat. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none.
Yep.
So that's my problem is
you say that. Do they have a quarterback? Russell Wilson
I
is
agree.
old, and he hasn't done anything in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And the kid Fields, other than last year when he shot up to the top of the league, which I did not understand. And what has he done? So he runs the ball. If I ran the ball, of course I would get more yards than throwing the ball. I can't throw.
Yeah.
This may be Tomlin's first losing season.
I think this is a horrible situation. I think you got 2 quarterbacks who just have not played well, and you put them on the same team, and you're going to run into the same problem. Now, again, I like Kenny Pickett. I thought they got rid of Kenny Pickett too soon, but obviously they saw something that they didn't love, and they got rid of him. But to me, these 2 guys are not the answer. To be honest with you, I like Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell better than I like that situation.
You know what I think? Could I go out on a limb here and say something?
Please, absolutely. Sure.
I'm going to say something, and we may get shut down immediately. So,
well, here we go.
I'll just say goodnight now. Okay, Mike Tomlin, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. Are we putting the triangle together, fellas? Kenny Pickett. He's a little different on the chart. He's on the other end of the chart.
Yes.
You go to the pink chart, they're not on the same chart. You know what I mean?
I understand completely what you're trying to say. Yes, and we could get shut down for such talk, but yes.
I think this is his first year. He doesn't have a winning.
I think there's somebody knocking at my door. I gotta go.
Let me give you another couple. So Anthony Richardson didn't get to show much last year, and Bryce Young showed too much of not being good. Frankie, which one of those guys has the better year this year? Taking the health out of it. Both of them are healthy for the season.
Oh, I think Richardson will have the better year this year.
Yeah, I think if he's healthy, he's got a better team around him.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a better nucleus. I really do think he'll have the better year. Like you say, as long as he stays healthy, I think he's got a better situation to make it better. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think you gotta look and see the Carolina Panthers. They're just a bad team.
Yeah.
You gotta hope that they did something to help this kid out. I don't think they did. Matter of fact, I don't even remember anything they did other than trade Christian McCaffrey a couple years ago. That's how bad they've been to me.
Yeah.
So, this other kid, wasn't he questionable? Richardson, he was questionable down in Indianapolis, and then he got hurt.
Yep. Let me ask you this question. Of the 2 big free agent running backs that moved, Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, which one has the better year?
One's old, one's injured all the time.
Corey Carr, sporting the Daniel Jones. Corey Carr, I'm all over it.
Listen, I'm gonna say this right now. Corey Carr, you better lift up that shield on your fucking helmet, bro. I think the fumes are getting in there fucking up. Just a possibility, man.
For some reason, I can't see chat, so.
You can't see the chats?
No.
Oh, you probably have to spray. You probably have to open the page up all the way, but that's okay. Frankie, which one of those 2 free agent running now? Which one of those 2 free agent running backs are going to have the better season?
I have to say Saquon Barkley because same thing. He's in a better situation. Eagles line is better. They want to try and run the ball a little bit more and not rely on Hurts so much where he hurts them. So I think it's Saquon Barkley. I think Derrick Henry's going to just turn into like a end zone guy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that Derrick Henry, you get these big backs.
Derrick Henry's a big back.
Yep.
He's ran the ball, about 10 million times in
Pretty
the last
much, yeah.
years?
Yep.
And he's, 31 years old?
Yep.
I think so.
Isn't that recipe for
No,
disaster?
he's 30 this year. 30.
30? All right, so it's still a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Can somebody do a wellness check on Frank, please? Fine. This other guy, he's out there. Where is he? Are you out there running naked in the woods or something, bro? Something wrong with you.
Hey, so Jim Harbaugh finally makes the trek back after winning the NCAA championship last year. Frank Jeffrey, does he bring that mentality, that formula of not relying on the quarterback, running the football, and playing good defense? Is that his thing, or is he going to change because of the quarterback he has in his on his team?
He'll make some adjustments, but he's going to be a run-first guy. He's always been that way. He relies on the defense run first. He will, I think you'll see him opening up a little more and putting some more of the packages in where he could throw because he's got Herbert. But I think he's going to do a lot of good things in San Diego. I think San Diego's going to be a tough team the next few years. Maybe not this year, but we'll see.
Okay, Trev, what are you thinking, Jeff? Do you think Jim Harbaugh changes his style and change it to what the NFL is today, or do you think he tries to do it?
One more thing. If he was going to change his style, he would have kept the wide receivers he had.
Okay, fair enough.
I think if he was going to change his style, I think he would have come to the NFL a lot sooner than he did. I don't think he would have waited. Okay, I think that the NFL is definitely trending a little bit more towards a running game at this point in time than they have within the last couple of years. You know, we've discussed that already. It's more the quarterback running than a running back. And listen, is he going to make that kind of change? Time will tell.
It's all circular. It's coming back to the single wing.
Yeah.
How long until his the Jim Harbaugh show goes down the tubes?
Yeah, well, he wasn't in Michigan. However, he was really okay. But I don't disagree. And Matt, I do like your Houston Lions Super Bowl. I think that would actually be pretty cool to see two teams like that get in the Super Bowl.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think it's something different. Let me, and you know what? And to be fair, I think it would be huge for this area if the Jets got to that point. Whether they will or not, it's a whole different story. But they just think it's been 50-something years since they were there, 55 years since they got there and won one. I think this whole New York area would just be completely insane if the Jets, whether they win or lose it, the Jets for 2 weeks in the Super Bowl would be the biggest story in this area for the last 10 years, at least.
Absolutely.
The only biggest sports story for New York would be if the Knicks made it to the championship.
That's true. Yeah, very true. 100% right. Yes, I would agree. The Knicks,
or the Rangers win the cup.
Yes, but you know what? The Knicks.
There's something about the Knicks winning. I'm not a basketball fan, but there's something about the Knicks in New York City. If they made it and if they won,
they tear the city apart. They would tear the city up. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Jeff with that. Guys, we've been talking about the Chiefs, and we kind of already foregone conclusion the Chiefs are going to be a great team, and the Chiefs are probably going to wind up in the Super Bowl. But they've had 4 players arrested since the Super Bowl. Right? They've got all sorts of issues. Let's see. I made some notes here. Let's see. They parted ways with their left tackle, Donovan Smith, and all-pro cornerback, L'Jarius Sneed, while trying to accomplish. They've also got controversy with their kicker, Harrison Butker, who, by the way, I would buy his jersey if I could. So there's a lot of issues. They've got still on-the-field issues. Kelsey's a year older. Mahomes is a year older. Guys, Frankie, is the Chiefs still the best team in the NFL today?
It's like that Brady Belichick thing that they've got going on there with Reeves and Mahomes. They just click and they know how to win and they do it. And if you look at like even Brady, there was years where he was lean and he was throwing 2 small little wide receivers and doing well. So I think they just got that chemistry with the coach and the quarterback. And it's enough to push them. I think they are going to struggle a little bit, especially early on, because of all of these off-field issues. But I think in the end, they're going to be there. I think Houston's very intriguing, like you said, in the AFC. Dolphins, Jets. I think the Jets, this is the year, with, like you said, Kansas City in the turmoil. This is the year for the Jets to take that shot.
Hey, Jeff, is there a possibility that the Reed Mahomes legacy will be better than the Belichick Brady because they actually like each other and it may last longer than the other side?
No, I don't think it's going to last longer because I think that the coach is too old.
Okay.
I don't think that he's going to have the staying power that Belichick had. You know what I mean?
Frank Allen, who's going to win the AFC this year, Frank? Let me guess.
The Broncos.
Frank Catalano said, holy shit, they won't even win the AFC West this year.
I got to say this. They have too many questionable players.
I agree.
Darius Toney.
Oh, yeah.
Don't they have Isaiah Pacheco?
Yeah, they like I said, they've had 4 players arrested in this offseason alone.
Travis Kelce going out.
The problem is the AFC West is a shit show. Well, you got the Broncos who are going to suck. You got the Raiders that are going to suck. Who do you got that's going to challenge them? San Diego's rebuilding. Harbaugh will be there for the next few years, but he's not ready yet. Who's challenging him in the West?
I think I heard, I don't know how true it is, that they're not even sending a representative from the AFC West this year.
Why bother?
Yeah.
They're just giving the Jets the bye week.
It might be a Seattle Seahawks situation where the 8 and 9 team gets in the playoffs.
Or it might be the Seahawks. They have to bring them back over there so they have a playoff.
Yeah, help them out.
I'm on the program this year.
So let me bring up my team. We haven't spoken much about the Giants along the way here, and I want to get your guys' take on the Giants. I think this is an interesting offseason. This is year 3 of the Shane and Dable. I think they've brought a lot of stability. I don't know if you guys are watching Hard Knocks at all, but it's been very intriguing watching the behind the scenes.
Somebody get their feelings hurt.
Oh boy, somebody got their feelings hurt. So Frankie, watching it from the outside, look at what the Giants did. I mean, they traded for Burns, one of the premier edge rushers, 26 years old. They drafted Malik Neighbors. I think the best wide receiver in the draft. There's still questions on the offensive line, obviously. They replaced Wink Martindale. Frankie, quick, what do you think of the New York Giants? What is their short term for the season? Is this a better team than it was last year?
There's still so many questions of what Danny Dimes, I know you're toting his shirt, but there's so many questions of what he really is yet. He's shown times where you think he could be the quarterback of the future, and then the next play it's like, he can't even play for the South Beach Panthers. It's like, who is he? You know what I mean? He's a Jekyll and Hyde guy.
Yep.
It's really bad. So I don't know you guys did enough to improve to challenge for the division, but I could see, like you say, a second, third spot in there fighting for that because Washington is young. They're coming up. They're going to be a problem. Like Jeff said, by next year, the year after, you're going to see this division flip. I think the Giants are a year or so away and a few more pieces from making that change.
Hey, Jeff, let me ask you, it's an intriguing season for the Giants because here's the thing. So after this year, the Giants can get rid of Daniel Jones, right, and move on to somebody else. And obviously they did make strides in the offseason to try to trade up and maybe make a draft pick of their future quarterback, which they didn't do, and they stuck with Daniel Jones. But if Daniel Jones goes out there and has a great year like he did 2 years ago, or a really good year, let's call it a really good, not a great year, and if you're the Giants, is this it for Danny Jones regardless? Because even if he has a great year and stays healthy, what happens the next year? Is this it for him no matter what, short of winning a Super Bowl?
I got to be honest with you, Tom. I know that you love the guy. I don't even want to know what you do in the privacy of your home when you say Danny Jones. I don't want to know. I can imagine, but I don't want to know. But I think the Giants showed what they were in this offseason, which is a very confused team. All right. They were reports that they tried to move up.
In 2 minutes, Tom.
Yeah, Frank, you got it.
Okay, when there were reports that they tried to move up in the draft.
Yep.
That they could draft a replacement. The alleged tapes of Saquon Barkley's conversation with the general manager, and how Saquon Barkley says, well, you know, they could change those around and manipulate what I said. I just don't think that the team had a set direction. And if they did, they certainly didn't stick with it long enough. I think that as far as Daniel Jones goes, I don't see him here next year. I don't see him. I think they did the right thing by letting Barkley go. But if you're going to let Barkley go, you should have traded Barkley. Why let him go for nothing? You should have got something for him.
Very true. That's a great point.
And the Giants, I know different general managers, different hierarchies and everything else over the years. That's the second player that they let go for nothing when they could have got something. Even if it's a 5th round draft pick or something minimal like that, get something for the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This year where you're not just letting him go out the door. I think that the team's trying, but, you know, you need a better quarterback. Daniel Jones, he gets injured. He's not exactly lighting the league on fire. And how does he go out there and play when he knows that they already tried to draft his replacement? Before he came back, they don't even know what he's capable of doing right now at this point in time. And they tried to draft his replacement before the season started. I don't, and knowing that, this is the last year that he has guaranteed money?
Well, he doesn't have any guaranteed money. If he were to get cut this year, his next year he would count $22 million in dead cap space.
All right.
If he plays, he's $40-something million.
Like you always like to say, you know, they do need a quarterback. They got to have one on the team.
Yep.
Or you might as well keep him because, you know, he's better than some of the other situations in the league, without a doubt. But I don't think that he's there in 2 years. I really don't. I don't know what happens after this year, bro.
Yeah, I think it's always questionable. I think if he goes out there and he has a year that he had 2 years ago, I don't think there's a choice but to bring him back. Because again, here's the thing. You know, when I was watching Hard Knocks, the biggest thing they were talking about was all the failed first-round quarterbacks that have been drafted over the last 10 years. And it's a remarkable thing. I mean, they went through, you know, so basically what they were saying is you drafting a guy in the first round is no guarantee. I mean, this year, another one of those big crowds, there was 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 12. You know, how many of those guys are actually going to be great quarterbacks? I mean, so many have failed. So my biggest question for Daniel Jones is not, is he a good quarterback or not? I think he is a good quarterback. I think the biggest question for him is, can he stay healthy? If they can find a way and he can find a way to stay on the football field and play, 16 of 17 games in the season, forget about Bo Nix, Frank, you maniac. I think he's there, and I think he's a legit answer. I think the problem is, Jeff, if he's not and he either gets hurt or has this real subpar year, it's going to set this team back because now you're either talking about bringing in a top-notch, big money free agent, which you don't want to do and waste that money, or drafting a guy who may be 2 or 3 years away from it. And then what? Your whole roster turns over. So this is a huge year for Daniel Jones and the New York Giants.
I agree. I totally agree. I just don't think that he's going to be the guy simply because if he's played a full year, he's had subpar stats, and then he gets hurt. So he's not, he's not a healthy quarterback. And is he going to all of a sudden turn into Joe Montana? I highly doubt it.
Well, I think he's a solid quarterback with good legs. Again, he showed what he could really do 2 years ago. 22 touchdown passes, another 7 on the ground. That's 29 touchdowns combined for the year. He threw for 3,000 plus yards. He got them into the playoffs, won a game. I think he showed what he can do. The problem is if you go out there and get another 3-game with a neck stinger, or you're out with an ankle injury, well, not your fault. It just changes it. And to me, one lengthy injury, one injury over 2 games, I would be shocked if he's back after that. He's got to stay healthy.
Corey, let me ask you a question, bro. How many years are you going to leave the guy back there with a fucking shaky offensive line? The guy has gotten just about every injury known that you can get. Next thing is wrecked knees, fucking sprained ankles, everything he's had. And when he does play, he's not leading the team. When has he ever put the team on his back and carried the team?
I disagree. I think 2 years ago he did. I think 2 years ago he was their best player, not named Saquon Barkley. I think he took that team and made them better. So I would disagree with that. I don't know if he's capable of doing it.
Capable of doing it long term.
Yeah, that is. I think for a season he did it. I think the difference between a great quarterback is you can give them almost anybody and make them better. I don't think Daniel Jones is that guy yet. I think he is the guy who needs talent around him to make him better. He's not Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, who are, I don't care who your wide receivers are, he's going to throw them better. He's going to throw them open.
But
Daniel Jones is not that guy yet.
Tom Brady and guys like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, they're here. They may need talent that's here.
Correct.
Where Daniel Jones is here and he needs talent that's above him. He must rise above to the talent that's around him. He was incapable of taking the team and bringing it to the next step alone. True, they didn't have a line. True, they didn't have receivers. But, if you're that good of a quarterback at one point in time, you got to be able to do it. Look at Tom Brady. He didn't always have top-notch people on the team.
I agree. He made those guys better.
I know it's going to sound crazy, but I actually like the weapons they put around. The reason why I say it sounds crazy because you lost Saquon Barkley, but I still like the weapons he has around him. Like you said, it's not bad. Their defense is still a little suspect. They're getting there. I think they're a year or so away, and like you said, and what Danny Dimes does away from challenging for the division.
Let me ask you this. I'll ask both. I'm going to ask you guys each a question.
Good.
Okay.
Are the Giants an 8-10 team, or are they a 4-13 team, 4-14 team?
I'm going to say the first. I think they're going to be in the middle of the pack. I think it's a 9-9. I mean 9-8, 8-9 season for the New York Giants. I think it's better, but not quite there. I would be surprised if they won 10 games or more. That would shock me right now.
Okay.
Frankie,
I can't hear you guys.
you can't hear us, Frankie.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine.
All right. I think, like you said, if this was the age old with 16, they would be an 8-8 team. So I got them around, like you say, the 8-10, 7-10 or 8-9 kind of game team. They're going to be right there.
Okay. I would certainly agree with that if I was it. Guys, I got a couple more, and then we're going to end the show.
This fucking guy. Tell the Blair Witch to let you go, man.
We lost Frank Jeffrey.
We got to have this maniac on. I want to hear him.
I've offered he can come on any week he wants. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Corey. Let's give Frank Jeffrey a minute. Again, Hard Rock and Sports. That's Jeff, and I'm Tom. And that was Frank Jeffrey. And we are celebrating 10 years together, doing the show every Thursday night. We'll be back every week. Next week, we'll be breaking down teams a little further. We'll get into the divisions. We'll talk about rivalries. We'll talk about maybe making some predictions, and we'll get further into it. But, I'm sure, Jeff, along the way, things are going to start to happen. You're going to start to get guys hurt. You're going to start who's holding out, who's not holding out.
Listen, that's life in the NFL, Tom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to expect that to happen. That we all know that. Okay.
Yep.
Once they get out on the field and they start practicing, any variety of things happen. Guys stand still. They literally hurt their knee blowing bubbles. Literally. You know what I mean?
Yes, we've known people with injuries like that.
Yeah, we know people that played in the NFL a long time ago.
Frankie, it would not shock me if the Giants did not have a great year. It would not. I mean, there's still too many question marks for me. The offensive line is still a big question mark. The secondary took a big hit. There is some questions at wide receiver. I like their wide receiver core, but Wan'Dale Robinson's been hurt a lot. I like Malik Neighbors, but he's a rookie. Jalen Wyatt is, Hyatt is still, these guys are still learning. It would not surprise me if this was a middle of the road team. I don't expect them to be terrible. I don't. I expect the Giants to be a middle of the road 8-9, 9-8 team. Maybe I'll be thrilled if we're in December and we're fighting for a wild card. If we're better than that, or at least that, I'm a happy camper. I don't have big expectations this year.
Corey, please tell Tommy to stop doing drugs now. He needs that intervention. Corey, please.
I'm sorry. I have complete faith in my squad. Frankie's back. There he is. Okay. He's back now. Frankie,
I
here
don't know what happened.
And shit happens, bro. It happens to me all the time.
I know what happened. You got busted. That's what happened. You ran to the restaurant or something for dinner. Right down the street. Look at the background. Completely different fucking place.
Well, yeah. What I did was I moved into the house because I was sitting on my back deck, and I figured the internet wasn't getting back there for some reason now.
All right. So I got one more before we end the show. We had 6 quarterbacks drafted early in the NFL. I want to ask you guys this. Give me the quarterback who's at least a first-year bust, and give me the best quarterback of the draft this year. I'll give you the 6 guys.
I was going to say, I don't even remember who they
All
were.
right. So Michael Penix, who might not play much, is in Atlanta. J.J. McCarthy went to Minnesota, and he's at this moment backing up Sam Darnold, which I don't expect that to last long.
No.
Let's see. Caleb Williams went to the Chicago Bears. Jeff, you seem to think they'll be a better team.
I think I'm not saying they're going to be challenging.
No, I got you. You got Jaden Daniels, who wound up with the Washington Redskins, who should be starting, I would imagine, this year. Bo Nix, Frankie's guy, in Denver, who probably is going to be the starter at some point. And then, of course, Drake May went to the New England Patriots. I was a big fan of Drake May, and I thought he would be the best of the bunch. Jeff, do you have the guy who you think will be the best of this bunch this year and the guy who will be the bust for this year, Jeff?
I think Caleb Williams is going to be the best out of the bunch, to be honest with you. I just think that it's, they did a lot in Chicago. I think he's going to take advantage of it. I think it's going to work to his advantage, I should say. I think he's going to have a pretty decent year. I don't think he's going to lead the league in any offensive categories, but he's going to be a good quarterback.
Right.
I heard and read a couple places about Drake May that New England, that they made the wrong choice when they picked him. Is that?
I disagree. I think Drake May was the most pro-ready quarterback of all of them. To be honest with you, at least from a mechanics standpoint, I think, to me, the guy I would say, I don't think Penix is going to be great, but I don't think you're going to see that this year. I think J.J. McCarthy is the guy who completely falls apart. I don't think J.J. McCarthy is a great quarterback.
He's in Minnesota?
Minnesota, yeah.
Yeah, Minnesota. That was my guy. I agree with you. I think McCarthy's he's not gonna play well in the NFL. Let me put it that way. I don't think he translates well his play and style of play in the NFL. And I think I like the kid from Chicago. I think he's going to be electrifying. I like what they did there. I think people are sleeping on Daniels with the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Jaden Daniels. I don't think he's going to be terrible. I don't think that team's any good, so I think he's going to have a hard time. Bo Nix, I've said it before. Bo Nix is probably 32 years old right now. He stayed in college for about 12 years. He
get the pension from college.
I think at this point he's ready to bring his grandson into Alumni Hall. I am not a big fan of Bo Nix. I think he had a solid career, but he had to play 7 years in college. I forever at Auburn, and then so to me, the best of the bunch, I think Drake May is.
Look it up. He made his college debut October 4th, 1989.
Yeah, I would not doubt he played for Bear Bryant at some point. So I think it's interesting. All right, guys, down to the final question of the night. Pro ready here. Final question, and I'm going to put you guys on
Bear Bryant. He's the only guy to play for Bear Bryant. He's not even in the same career.
I'm putting you guys on the spot. Give me this today. Give me the Super Bowl that we will be watching in February. Frank Jeffrey, what's the Super Bowl?
I am going to go with the Detroit Lions versus the New York Jets.
I'm with you, Frankie. That was my pick as well. I think it's the Jets this year, and I think it's the Lions. I am high on the Lions.
As terrible as that tasted coming out of my mouth.
It is
Frank,
hard to say.
any idea what this is by any chance? I
Can't
think
see
you
it.
need it. Do you want it? Right?
Go ahead, Jeff. What's your Super Bowl?
I would love to tell you it's going to be the Jets and somebody else, but I'm going to say that it's going to be the Lions and the Chiefs.
Interesting. Okay, I think safe. I think that's a safe one. We're gonna ask you this question. Last one. I'm sorry.
I do
we all
have to
like
say,
the
I
Li-
like Matt's Houston Lions. That would be a
Yeah.
Super Bowl I would love to see.
Me too. But let me ask you a question. With the way they lost in that game, the Lions, has their coach learned his lesson and coaching different from week 9 and the NFC Championship game? Or, are we going to see the same old coach? And I think if he hasn't learned the lesson, they won't get back there. Frankie, do you think?
My problem with him, my problem with Campbell is he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room.
Right.
You learn more from losing. You know this from playing
Sure.
Tom. You learn more from losing and winning, and he should learn more from the losses he got and improve upon that. But we're talking about him, Campbell, and he's thick-headed, and he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. So that is my one concern. I think the coaching, where he's got a lot of plus side. He's a rah-rah guy. He's a football guy. He's got a lot of plus side.
Yep.
But he's not Bill Belichick, you know?
Few
Yeah.
are. Few are. if
Few are.
any,
You're right. Few are.
Okay.
But Frankie,
I gotta be honest with you. You know what? Anybody that took a Detroit, bye, Frank. Oh, there
No,
he is.
where you go? What's going on here?
Anybody that took a Detroit team and took it to the NFC Championship game is going to be looked upon in that town. And that's
Can you
all
guys
there is
see
to it.
me?
yeah, we see you, Frankie.
All
Yeah.
right.
I would say this, guys. I have enough faith that they have a good team. They've gotten better. I think they get back there. I think they make that next step. He just has to learn that you don't coach the NFC Championship game the way you coached Week 8 of the NFL. You have to coach it differently. And you're right, Matt. We didn't mention the Bengals because I have no faith that team, that quarterback stays healthy. They have too many guys wanting to get paid. There's a lot of unrest over there. And we'll talk more about more of the division start next week. That'll be one of them we'll talk about. I do not think they will challenge. I don't think they're good enough defensively, and I think there's too many guys wanting to get paid. Higgins wants to get paid. This one wants to get paid. I think they'll be there, but they won't get there. Anybody disagree?
Right. No, I agree. I think they'll win that division. I think they're going to beat Baltimore for that division. I think they'll win that division, but I think they're out in the first or second round. I don't think they're going to go anywhere.
Jeff?
Lions?
No, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Cincinnati Bengals.
The Bengals, it's hard to say with them. Every year Burrow gets hurt, it seems, or he's
Right.
not 100%.
If
And
Burrow gets hurt, they're done.
hanging on somehow. I like Burrow. I like them. I liked him when he was with LSU, but I don't know. It's an iffy team, man. It's iffy.
I agree, but guys,
There's more questions than answers.
The AFC is still into cities until somebody takes it away from them. That's it.
I would agree with that. But guys, we're going to end it right here. I want to thank my good buddy Frank Jeffrey for spending time with Frankie. Like I told you, you don't need an invitation. You got an open invite, as does Matt and a lot of other people. We talk football every week. You're more than welcome to be part of the show any point of the week or any week of the thing. And we love you, and we thank you for spending 2 hours with us tonight.
Thank you. Once again, I want to just thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for the turnout for my wife. It was beautiful, and it was beautiful because of all of you guys that showed up. I really appreciate it.
You got it, Frankie. We love you, and we love your wife, and we're there for you and your family. And again, any Thursday night you're sitting home and you're feeling like you want to talk football, we're right here.
You'll see me more often than you want.
You got it, my friend. I'll talk to you, Frankie.
Love you guys. Thank you, brother.
Love you too. Talk to you later. All right,
Later
that's
on.
it's a good one, Jeff. It's another one in the books. 11 years of doing the NFL training camp show. We went through a lot of things tonight. Again, I want to thank you. Of course, I want to thank your wife also for putting up with all of this. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate that. Thank you, Frankie and Matt and everybody who hangs with us. But Jeff, thank you so much for doing this every week with me and being part of this with me.
It's an honor, Tom, because I mean, you had one vision, and I'm hoping that I helped it grow to what it is now. I mean, it's let's face it, this isn't Monday Night Football. Good night, Matt.
See you, Matt.
It's our thing on Thursday nights, and it's always nice that these guys chime in, and there's nobody trying to outdo one another with this. Everybody is cool with things, and it's a nice thing to do, man. I really dig it.
Yep.
I enjoy it. It gives us time to hang out and talk and everything, and then we get maniacs like fucking Frank Catalano and the rest of these guys.
Well, it becomes that thing that we want. Where you're breaking each other's balls a little bit, you're having some fun, you're talking sports, you're talking music, and 2 hours fly by, and it kind of eliminates all that bullshit that we deal with all day between work and bills and politics and all the other shit. It's 2 hours of hanging and having a good time. John Mahevka, thank you, my brother. I will send you that file tomorrow, John. I will definitely do that for you. I promise.
Yeah, John, let me know. I mean, I don't know how to do this, what he needs. I'm not that good with I don't have his computer set up at home. It's got to be cell phone. Could I just do a video and then you rip the off the video, or?
You can do that. I mean, there are ways to do that.
John do that?
Well, because there's converters. You can take an MP4 file, which is usually your video, and change it into an MP3. I used to do it for the show all the time. So there is ways to do it, John. If you don't know how or whatever, maybe Jeff will send it to me, and I'll do it for him. I'm pretty sure that I can figure it out. But first, like I said, thank you again to everybody. Starting again, my wife, my dad, my brother, Jeff, Jeff's wife, Sharon, who was amazing. All of you guys. For being part of this 10 years. Thanks to Joey Gansas, Nick Marino, Giuseppe Dante, my cousins, all the people who supported this show early on, Mike Passamonte, Carl Graham. There's a laundry list of people, all the people that we've interviewed, which I will play a lot of next week. Geezer Butler, Lita Ford, Mark Farner, George Foreman, Tommy John. I mean, Jeff, we've run the gamut, and John can do that. You send him a video, and he'll edit it down for you.
And that's what I'll do.
Yeah. So, So again, thank you to everybody. Hopefully, this is certainly not the last show. Hopefully that this will keep rolling. We got a great football season ahead of us. There's gonna be a lot of trash talking between the Jets and the Giants, and the big Jeff taking over his own fantasy team this year. Jeff's getting all pumped up. We're going to be battling.
I don't look at it as taking over my own fantasy team. I look at it as I cut the fat. I trimmed the fat down. I kept the team. I let somebody else walk away.
Well, listen, you'll have an opportunity to draft your team and show what you got. Good night, Frankie. We'll see you soon, pal.
I'm looking forward to that, because you know what? I'm going to tell you something. When we do the draft,
yep,
I want on the computer with you in the neighboring draft room. I don't want you to pick alone. I want to be right there. I want to put added pressure on you. I want the bullshit and pressure from you. Because this way, we're not telling the other what the other one is doing.
Okay.
I want to look in your eye when you make a dreaded pick, when you're like, I got Saquon Barkley, and he's got like a half a leg missing or something. I want to be there for that.
All right, that's fair enough. We'll figure that one out. We can do it just like we do in the show. We can have it up on the screen. We can do it
every year. What difference? Yeah.
We'll do the show. We'll have the show. We'll have this opened up, and we'll have the draft going, and we'll accomplish both. But for tonight, we got to end this. Like I said, thank you to everybody who made this possible, and we'll be back next week. Jeff, I'm Matthew. My wife's coming with a celebratory shot. Thank you, honey. I thanked you 3 times. I'll thank you for the 4th time in front. Thank you to my wife, who has allowed me each and every Thursday night to do this show and supported me all the way along the way. So thank you. As I do a shot of tequila for you, Jeff, and everybody out there.
Thank you, man.
But that'll be it for tonight. So, as I say all the time, thanks to everybody who tuned in, everybody who checked us out along the way. And I wish you guys a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week, a great weekend, and a great next week. We'll see you back here when we do this all over again next Thursday night at 7 o'clock. So for Jeff Tomwinski, myself, Frank Jeffrey, and the whole crew, thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, and we'll see everybody next Thursday night. Jeff, thank you, my brother. I love you, and I will talk to you off the air.
Same here, Tom. Thank you for doing this, and you don't realize what you've done for 10 years. Come running home on Thursday nights, and setting this up and everything else that you did, and you know, all of the shows that we did play, we got to play out together.
Yeah.
You know, so that was always fun.
Yes.
And listen, I ain't gonna lie, I part of me always hopes that there's one show left.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I've said it to you 10 times. I want to do another one. When you're ready, you let me know. But
I'm ready anytime you want, man.
All right. Well, we get all we need is something to play for. Again,
All
to me,
we need a band first.
well, I think we can get that pretty easy. Honestly, if we put the call out, we'll get the band. That's the band that come and running. We just gotta come off, get off our ass and do something.
I hope so, man.
All right. Well, we'll talk about it. But again, either way, the show will be here next Thursday, and we'll be here all through the season. And hopefully, everybody comes back and spends a couple hours with us every Thursday night. So,
just want to address Frank real quick. Frank, listen, you can say whatever you want because you're on my hit list too, bro. You're going down also. I don't care if I win 3 games as long as I beat Tommy, John Marheca, and you. I'm good. That's all I give a fuck about.
Well, we'll see. That might turn out to be true. So we'll see what happens. But guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you back here next Thursday. Have a great week. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a couple Italian American festivals. One in Hoboken. There's one down at Monmouth Racetrack. I am off tomorrow, and my wife and I will be out there hitting the streets. I am taking an official full day off. I am shutting off the phone to work. So I'm getting out there and doing my thing. So I'm going to enjoy my weekend. I hope you guys do, and we'll all reconvene here next Thursday night, Jeff.
All right, dude, man. Enjoy and have a good time.
I will
be sitting in the house. And that's fine with me.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
All right. So good, guys. I'll see you right later, Jeff. Great show. I'll talk to you off the air.
Same here, bro.
Later, my man.
Later.
Good night, everybody.